beneath a sky untouched by city lights. Thousands of years ago, early humans sat around fires and gazed upward. The night was not silent to them. It was alive, shimmering with meaning. Every flickering star, every glowing band of the Milky Way was not just decoration but a story, a guide, and perhaps a warning. Imagine that world, where the heavens were the greatest library, and the only tools available to read it were human eyes, sharpened by survival and wonder. In those endless nights, before books and telescopes, the sky was both scripture and mystery. And somewhere in that mystery, ancient people began to draw maps, not of their lands, but of the stars themselves. What compels a people, with nothing but stone tools and firelight, to study the heavens so carefully? They tracked the rising of Sirius, the dance of Orion, the slow, patient movement of the North Star. They noticed the cycles. The stars shift across seasons. The moon waxes and wanes. The sun returns to its solstice. To us, it may seem like basic observation, but to them, it was survival. When to plant, when to migrate, when storms might come. Yet beyond mere survival lay something deeper, the sense that the cosmos was speaking to them, that these lights in the sky were not just distant suns, but messages written across the dark. The oldest evidence we have of this connection comes from places where art and science meet in shadowy caves. In the walls of Lascaux in France, dating back over 17,000 years, animals run across painted stone, but above them strange dots and clusters appear. Scholars have long debated whether these marks represent star groups like the Pleiades. If true, it means that even before agriculture, humans were not only storytellers of the earth but cartographers of the sky. They were reaching outward, embedding cosmic memory into their earliest symbols. The question that burns is this: how much did they know? Were they simply connecting dots into familiar shapes, or did they somehow possess knowledge of alignments, cycles, and even phenomena invisible to the naked eye? Across continents, this same impulse appears again and again. In Germany, the Nebra sky disk, more than 3,000 years old, gleams with gold symbols of the sun, moon, and stars, carefully arranged. In its design lies astonishing accuracy, far beyond what Bronze Age hands were thought to be capable of. These were not primitive sketches. They were maps, deliberate and intentional. But here's where the mystery deepens. The sky is vast. The constellations we see are arbitrary, formed by culture and imagination. And yet, somehow, across oceans and millennia, different civilizations focused on the same patterns: Orion, Sirius, the Pleiades. Why those? Why repeated across Egypt, Mesopotamia, the Americas, and even in the songs of the Aboriginal peoples of Australia? Were these patterns simply brighter and more noticeable? Or was there something else? Something that compelled ancient humans to record them with such reverence, almost as if obeying a directive. Close your eyes and picture it. A hunter in the frozen steppes, looking up, tracing the belt of Orion. A priest in Egypt carving symbols that align with the same stars. A voyager on the Pacific seas, steering by constellations to islands unseen. They were separated by impossible distances, but connected by the same map. A map no one made on Earth, but one stretched across the sky itself. The stars became the first common language of humankind. And yet, hidden in that language is a riddle. Were these star maps entirely the product of human ingenuity, or were they echoes of something taught to us? The myths tell of visitors, gods descending from the heavens, teachers who brought calendars, laws, and knowledge of the skies. It is tempting to dismiss such tales as allegory. But when the same stories appear again and again, from cultures that never met, we are left unsettled. Could these myths preserve fragments of a forgotten truth? What makes this question so haunting is the precision. The alignments of monuments with celestial events, the exact matching of myths to cycles like the precession of the equinoxes, these are not coincidences easily explained away. Imagine holding a stone tool in your hand, carving a star map that not only matches the sky but encodes cycles lasting tens of thousands of years. How could this be possible without knowledge far beyond what history grants them? The stars themselves are indifferent, yet across time they have been mirrors for our hopes, fears, and imagination. They guided migrations, inspired empires, and became the backdrop for myths of origin and destiny. But as we trace the first star maps, we begin to see something more than survival, more than stories. We glimpse a relationship between humanity and the cosmos that feels intentional, as though we were meant to look upward and remember. Perhaps the ancients saw the stars not as distant fires but as neighbors, close enough to guide, mysterious enough to worship, powerful enough to fear. Perhaps they believed, with a conviction we have forgotten, that the sky was alive with voices. Voices that spoke in cycles, in alignments, in patterns that only the patient and devoted could hear. And so the first star maps were drawn, not on paper, but in stone, in paint, in memory. They were charts of navigation, calendars of survival, and symbols of belief. But they were also invitations, silent signals passed down through time. An echo whispering, "We are not alone under this sky." As the fires of those ancient camps faded into darkness, the stars remained. They still remain, waiting for us to ask the same questions. What did our ancestors truly see when they mapped the heavens? And more unsettling, or what might have been looking back, long before telescopes or printed charts, humans were already recording the sky, though their tools were simple, stone, bone, and ochre. Yet what they left behind hints at something astonishing, a level of precision that seems almost impossible for prehistoric peoples. In caves across Europe, from Lascaux to Chauvet, we find clusters of dots and symbols etched alongside hunting scenes. At first glance, these marks might seem like decoration, a random pattern or artistic flourish. But look closer, and a pattern emerges. Some clusters match the Pleiades, a star group known for its brilliance and for guiding agricultural and migratory cycles. Others correspond to lunar phases, eclipses, and solstices, suggesting that even tens of thousands of years ago, humans were tracking celestial phenomena with painstaking accuracy. Take the Nebra sky disk, discovered in Germany in 1999. Dating back to around 1600 BCE, this bronze disk is etched with gold symbols, a crescent moon, a golden sun, and clusters that represent stars. But the disk is more than an astronomical chart. It is a tool, a calendar, a guide to agricultural timing. Its creators arranged the symbols in such a way that the disk could help predict solstices and lunar eclipses. For a civilization without writing as we know it, without clocks or instruments, this was extraordinary. Every line, every curve, every dot seems intentional. Yet the disk was hidden, buried for thousands of years, as if someone feared its knowledge would be misused, or perhaps misunderstood. Across the world, the same impulse to map the heavens appears again and again. In North America, ancient native cultures carved star-like patterns into stones, their petroglyphs often aligned with solstices and lunar cycles. In Africa, early societies in the Sahara and along the Nile embedded celestial knowledge into rituals and monuments. In Polynesia, long before Europeans ventured across the Pacific, navigators memorized entire star paths to cross thousands of miles of open ocean. These were not casual observations. They were complex, living maps encoded in memory, stone, and story. What makes these first maps so enigmatic is their consistency. Across continents separated by oceans and mountains, humans identified the same bright stars and clusters. Orion, the Pleiades, Sirius, they appear over and over again. This raises a troubling question: why these stars, in particular, were deemed significant? Some scholars argue it was simply their brightness. But the alignment goes deeper. In multiple cultures, these stars are linked to creation myths, cycles of life, and even gods descending from the heavens. It's as if the stars themselves were carrying a message, and the first star mappers were tasked with decoding it. Consider Lascaux again. One chamber shows a bull, its body overlaid with a cluster of dots. Scholars suggest this is not mere decoration but a star map. If true, it is evidence that humans were connecting the heavens to earthly life, linking the cycles of the stars to the cycles of survival, hunting, migration, and seasonal change. But the mystery does not stop at practical use. The placement of dots often defies simple explanation, suggesting knowledge of precession, the slow wobble of the Earth's axis that shifts the position of stars over centuries. If prehistoric humans tracked this, they were observing the cosmos with a level of sophistication that modern science only began to formalize thousands of years later. This is where the story becomes truly compelling. Were these star maps merely the product of keen observation and intelligence, or were they echoes of something taught? Ancient myths often speak of teachers from the sky, beings who descended to show humanity how to live, how to plant, how to measure the heavens. In Sumerian texts, in Egyptian hieroglyphs, in the oral traditions of indigenous peoples, the pattern repeats. The stars are not simply above, they are messages, guides, even warnings. The first maps of the unknown may have been more than practical tools. They may have been instructions, a cosmic curriculum passed down to guide human civilization. And yet, the evidence is fragmentary. Most star maps, carved into stone or etched into discs, were lost to time. Climate, war, and decay have erased the majority of human memory. What remains are tantalizing fragments, hints of knowledge that must have been widespread and sophisticated. When we reconstruct them, aligning one artifact with another across continents, the patterns become undeniable. There is a language here, a structure repeated across time and space. The dots on a disc in Germany resonate with carvings in North America. The lines on a cave wall in France echo the celestial cycles remembered by Polynesian navigators. Even more astonishing, some of these maps seem to encode not just the present, but the past and future. Lunar cycles, eclipses, the rising and setting of certain stars. They form a record, a calendar, a storybook of time itself. To follow a prehistoric star map is to follow a cosmic trail, leading through centuries and continents, connecting people who never met, whose only common bond was the sky above them. The realization is both humbling and unnerving. Someone, somewhere, knew enough to leave these messages, and we are only now beginning to decode them. And here, the twist deepens. While the stars and maps are ancient, they often appear alongside human inventions that seem impossibly advanced for their time. The precision of the Nebra sky disk, the astronomical alignment of megaliths, the memoized star paths of oceanic voyages, these achievements suggest a depth of understanding that challenges conventional timelines of human development. Were these skills learned purely through observation over centuries, or was there a hidden source of knowledge, lost to history, that seeded civilizations with the understanding of the heavens? As we study these first maps of the unknown, we are confronted with a paradox. They are both primitive and advanced, simple and profoundly complex. They tell us that humans have always sought to understand their place in the universe, to reach beyond the limits of their time. And they hint that the answers may lie not just in our ingenuity, but in a shared memory that spans oceans, continents, and millennia. By piecing together the star maps of our ancestors, we start to glimpse the extraordinary ambition of prehistoric humanity. They did not merely survive. They looked up, they counted, they recorded, and in doing so, they left a legacy that challenges everything we think we know about our past. The first maps of the unknown are not just artifacts. They are whispers from the distant night, calling us to look higher, to wonder deeper, and to question the very story of human knowledge itself. And so, as the first star maps take shape, one undeniable truth emerges. The sky was never empty, and our ancestors were listening. Every dot, every line, every carefully arranged cluster tells a story waiting for us to uncover. And if we follow that story, we may find that humanity's earliest gaze toward the heavens was not just about survival. It was about destiny, about a connection to the cosmos that we are only beginning to understand. Long before the written word, before mathematics was formalized, humans found another way to record knowledge: stone. Across the world, massive stones rise from the earth, arranged with a precision that has baffled scholars for centuries. These are not merely monuments. They are messages frozen in time, instruments of observation, and perhaps even tools for communicating with the cosmos. Places like Stonehenge in England or Göbekli Tepe in Turkey are not random piles of rock. Each stone, each alignment, each carefully chosen location hints at an understanding of the heavens that seems almost impossible for prehistoric societies. Take Stonehenge, for example. On the longest day of the year, the sunrise aligns perfectly with the heel stone, casting light along the ancient pathway. For the people who built it, this was no accident. It was a signal, a way to mark the passage of time, to synchronize their lives with the cycles of the sun and moon. Imagine the dedication required to move massive stones, some weighing tens of tons, across great distances without modern machinery. It was an act of devotion, a commitment to connect with the cosmos, to etch the memory of the sky into the earth itself. But Stonehenge is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. At Göbekli Tepe, considered by many the world's oldest temple complex, enormous pillars are carved with symbols of animals and abstract forms. Some researchers argue that these carvings encode star patterns, perhaps representing constellations or celestial events. This site dates back more than 12,000 years, predating the invention of writing and even organized agriculture. The implication is staggering. Humans were mapping the heavens, recording cosmic knowledge, long before they had settled into permanent communities. And it is not just Europe or the Middle East. Across the Americas, serpent-shaped mounds and stone circles echo similar alignments. The Hopewell culture in North America built complex earthworks that align with solstices and lunar events. The Great Serpent Mound in Ohio traces the path of the constellation Draco, a cosmic dragon winding across the sky. These constructions suggest that ancient peoples, separated by oceans and millennia, shared a fascination with the heavens and the urge to anchor that knowledge in stone. The precision of these stone arrangements is astonishing. Some align perfectly with lunar cycles lasting 18.6 years. Others track eclipses or the rising of key stars like Sirius or Dogon. For civilizations with no telescopes, no mathematical tools as we know them, this level of accuracy is mind-boggling. How did they achieve it? Were they simply extraordinarily patient observers, or were they following inherited knowledge passed down through generations? Perhaps these stones were part of a greater network, a system of star maps spanning the globe, each structure a node in an ancient cosmic web. Yet the stones hold more than practical knowledge. They evoke awe, fear, and reverence. They are ritual spaces, where humans may have communed with the sky, performed ceremonies to honor the cosmos, or sought guidance for decisions that shaped their survival. The act of placing and carving these stones required coordination, social organization, and a shared belief system. It speaks to a human need to understand the world, to anchor the ephemeral beauty of the stars in something permanent and tangible. There is also a hidden sophistication in the geometry of these sites. Many megalithic circles are constructed using principles of symmetry and proportion that mirror the movements of the heavens. Some alignments correspond to the lunar standstill, a phenomenon occurring every 18.6 years, revealing an understanding of cycles that modern science only formalized centuries later. Others encode astronomical constants, suggesting that these builders were not merely observing. They were calculating, recording, and predicting. Göbekli Tepe presents an even deeper mystery. The pillars, shaped like T's, are adorned with intricate reliefs, lions, scorpions, vultures, and abstract symbols that seem to reference the night sky. Some researchers propose that these carvings depict a catastrophic event, a comet, meteor, or flood, encoded within a celestial map. If true, it would suggest that these stones were not just monuments but time capsules, preserving knowledge of cosmic events for future generations. Humanity's earliest architects may have been recording history on a cosmic scale, blending memory, prophecy, and art. And there is a haunting emotional dimension to these stones. They speak of human perseverance, the courage to attempt the impossible, the desire to reach beyond the immediate world into the eternal. Imagine the people dragging massive stones across miles of uneven terrain, carving symbols by firelight, aligning them with stars whose cycles they could only partially understand. Each stone is a testament to devotion, ingenuity, and perhaps a reverence for forces beyond comprehension. Across continents, a pattern emerges. The stones are rarely isolated. They form networks, connected through alignment, myth, and ritual. In Europe, in the Middle East, in the Americas, these monuments share a common purpose: to bind the earth to the sky, to anchor human understanding in the solid permanence of stone. They were early observatories, libraries, and temples all at once, demonstrating that prehistoric humans had a vision of the cosmos that was both practical and spiritual. But here lies the twist. While some of these stones appear monumental and precise, others are subtle. Small, portable objects, carved bones, and painted rocks may contain encoded star knowledge as well. Perhaps these were personal guides, secret teachings, or tools for initiates. The combination of massive monuments and small artifacts suggests a culture of laid knowledge, public instruction through stones, private wisdom through portable star maps. It is a dual system of teaching and preserving knowledge, designed to survive both time and disaster. The stones remind us that our ancestors were not passive observers. They were active participants in the cosmos, attempting to understand, predict, and align themselves with forces far beyond their control. They carved their questions and their answers into the earth, leaving behind enduring mysteries for us to unravel. Every alignment, every pattern, every carefully placed stone is a message across time. Humanity has always looked upward, and in doing so, has always sought to anchor itself in the vast, eternal sky. And so, as we trace the alignments of Stonehenge, the pillars of Göbekli Tepe, and the mounds of the Americas, we begin to see a story emerge, a story not only of survival and ingenuity but of aspiration. Our ancestors may have been far more sophisticated than we give them credit for. They were architects of memory, sculptors of time, and cartographers of the cosmos. The stones that remember are not silent. They whisper across millennia, inviting us to listen, to question, and to wonder. The sky may have inspired them, but the stones ensured that inspiration would endure. They connect us to those who came before, to their hopes, fears, and cosmic ambitions. And as we stand before these monuments today, we cannot help but ask, how much of what we know, and how much of what we think we know about history, has been hidden in plain sight, carved into the very earth beneath our feet? The story of the stones is far from complete. Each discovery, each realignment, each careful study peels back another layer of understanding, revealing a civilization deeply intertwined with the stars. And just as the first star maps guided humanity's earliest steps into the cosmos, these stones continue to guide us, challenging our assumptions, expanding our imagination, and hinting at truths that may be even older and stranger than we dare to imagine. Long before telescopes, satellites, or modern astronomy, humans looked upward and saw more than distant points of light. They saw beings, forces, and patterns that demanded reverence and storytelling. Across the world, ancient civilizations imagined gods walking among the stars, descending from the heavens to teach, to punish, or to guide. In Sumer, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and Mesoamerica, these celestial deities were often depicted with wings, fire, or radiant halos, symbols of their connection to the cosmos. The stars were not passive observers in their myths. They were active participants, orchestrating events on Earth and dictating the rhythm of human life. In Egypt, the goddess Nut arches across the night sky, swallowing the sun each evening and giving birth to it again at dawn. Her body mirrors the curve of the heavens, her story inseparable from the movement of celestial bodies. The Egyptians built their temples and pyramids in alignment with the stars she embodies, particularly Orion and Sirius. Every architectural choice reflected a cosmic map, a way to honor the gods while also encoding knowledge of the heavens. Was this reverence purely symbolic, or did it conceal a deeper understanding of the cosmos? Perhaps the myths themselves were encoded star charts, the language of the gods written across the sky for those who knew how to read them. Thousands of miles away, in Mesopotamia, the Sumerians imagined Anunnaki, powerful beings descending from the heavens. Their myths described these gods as architects of civilization, teaching humans agriculture, mathematics, and laws. But the Anunnaki were not merely cultural figures. They were intimately tied to the stars. Scholars have long speculated that the positions of planets, eclipses, and celestial cycles were woven into Sumerian legends, making these myths a complex form of astronomical record. Could it be that these stories were also star maps, guiding humanity to observe and understand the cosmos in ways that survive even to this day? Meanwhile, in Mesoamerica, the Maya recorded detailed observations of Venus, Mars, and other celestial bodies. Their gods were inseparable from these planets, and their rituals, calendars, and monumental architecture all reflected celestial cycles. The rising of Venus, for instance, dictated warfare, planting, and religious ceremonies. The stars were alive, moving with purpose, dictating not only the seasons but the destiny of kings and commoners alike. Across continents, the pattern is clear. Gods, myths, and stars were intertwined, forming a tapestry of knowledge that merged observation with belief. The commonality is striking. Across cultures that never communicated directly, certain constellations, planets, and celestial events were repeatedly personified as divine beings. Orion, the Pleiades, Sirius. These stars appear in myths worldwide, often with eerily similar narratives, teachers, guides, messengers from the heavens. Some scholars dismiss this as coincidence, a natural result of the brightest stars standing out in the sky. Yet the alignment of these myths with architectural and artistic evidence suggests something more deliberate. Humans were not merely seeing the stars. They were decoding messages, embedding cosmic knowledge in the very fabric of culture and religion. In Egypt, the Orion constellation was associated with Osiris, the god of resurrection. Temples were aligned to capture the rising of Orion's belt during certain times of the year, marking agricultural and ritual cycles. In South America, the Inca aligned their structures with the same stars. Despite a separation of thousands of miles and centuries of development, humans consistently linked specific stars with divine narratives, demonstrating a shared instinct to connect the heavens to the sacred and the practical. But what were these gods really? Were they entirely mythological constructs, or could they reflect something more tangible, perhaps visitors from the stars themselves? Stories across cultures describe gods descending, teaching skills, and imparting knowledge that seems too advanced to originate solely on Earth. In some Native American traditions, sky beings taught humans agriculture and astronomy, while in African and Indian myths, similar celestial visitors appear with uncanny consistency. The implication is chilling. Knowledge of the stars may have arrived on Earth before humans fully understood it, carried in stories, rituals, and monuments disguised as myth. This intertwining of divinity and astronomy also served a practical purpose. By framing the sky as a realm of gods, ancient peoples ensured that knowledge of celestial cycles would be preserved. Religious devotion demanded observation, rituals enforced precision, and myths encoded complex information in memorable forms. The gods were not just objects of worship. They were mnemonic devices, a way to pass cosmic knowledge across generations. It is no accident that the stories survived while other records vanished. They were written in the most memorable language humans possessed: narrative, myth, and reverence. Yet, there is an unsettling edge to this celestial connection. Many myths speak of punishment, upheaval, and cataclysm tied to the stars. The heavens were not only guides, they were warnings. In Sumerian texts, comets and eclipses were omens of destruction. In Egypt, certain stars were linked to death and resurrection cycles. Even in Polynesian and Native American traditions, celestial phenomena are tied to floods, storms, and migrations. The gods of the sky were not indifferent. They were active, watching, and shaping events on Earth. This lends a haunting possibility. The first humans who mapped the heavens may have been not just observers but messengers, recording cosmic warnings for future generations. As civilizations advanced, the stories became more elaborate, but the core principle remained. The stars were alive with intention. They dictated when kings should rule, when crops should be sown, and when humanity should prepare for upheaval. Architecture, art, and ritual reinforce these messages, embedding celestial knowledge in stone, paint, and memory. The gods in the sky were both symbolic and functional, mythological yet practical, spiritual yet scientific. And here lies the twist. While myths appear fantastical, they often encode measurable astronomical events. The Pleiades, for instance, are central to myths worldwide, yet they also mark agricultural seasons, navigational paths, and celestial cycles. The stories of descent, instruction, and divine guidance may simultaneously preserve a record of cosmic observation. Could it be that the gods of legend were, in part, chroniclers of the stars, ensuring that knowledge survived long before formal science existed? As we stand under the night sky today, these ancient gods remain with us, not as literal beings, but as echoes of human curiosity, ingenuity, and awe. Every myth, every alignment, every ritual hints at a civilization deeply attuned to the cosmos, capable of observing, recording, and revering the heavens in ways that continue to baffle modern scholars. They remind us that humans have always sought to understand their place in the universe, to reach beyond the immediate, and to see patterns where others see only chaos. The gods in the sky were not merely characters in ancient stories. They were teachers, guides, and guardians of cosmic knowledge, encoded in myths, rituals, and monuments. They remind us that humanity's earliest attempts to map the heavens were not purely scientific. They were spiritual, emotional, and profoundly human. And as we trace the paths of these gods across cultures, from Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, we begin to understand a profound truth. The sky has always been our greatest teacher, and the first maps of the stars were written not in ink, but in myth and reverence, awaiting those who could see beyond the surface. Across continents and millennia, one constellation appears again and again in myths, monuments, and star maps: Orion. Its three brilliant stars forming the iconic belt have captured human imagination like no other, appearing in Egyptian tombs, Native American legends, and even in the myths of the Polynesians. But Orion is more than a collection of stars. For our ancestors, it was a guide, a marker, and perhaps even a messenger. Across the deserts of Egypt, the towering pyramids of Giza are aligned with uncanny precision to the stars of Orion's belt, suggesting that these structures were not merely tombs but a physical embodiment of cosmic knowledge. The Great Pyramid, Khufu's tomb, is often described as a marvel of architecture, but its placement and orientation hold a deepest secret. The descending shafts of the pyramid point directly to the belt stars of Orion, and the northern shafts align with the circumpolar stars. These are not random alignments. They indicate a deliberate effort to mirror the sky on Earth, a belief that the pharaoh's journey after death was guided by the stars. The precision is staggering. To achieve this alignment, the builders would have needed detailed observations, sophisticated geometry, and a knowledge of celestial cycles spanning centuries. It raises a provocative question. How did a civilization more than 4,000 years ago achieve such astronomical accuracy? Orion's significance is not limited to Egypt. In Native American myths, Orion's belt is often interpreted as a path of ancestors or celestial hunters. In Polynesia, voyagers used Orion as a navigational guide, its bright stars marking safe passages across thousands of miles of open ocean. Even in Europe, prehistoric cave paintings and megalithic structures suggest awareness of Orion's position in the sky. This remarkable global consistency hints at a universal recognition of Orion as something more than a constellation. It was a symbol, a map, and a guide embedded in human consciousness across vast distances. The mysteries deepen when we consider the timing. The alignment of the Giza pyramids with Orion is believed to correspond not only to the stars' positions during the Old Kingdom, but also to precession, the slow wobble of Earth's axis that shifts the sky over millennia. This suggests that the builders were aware of cycles lasting thousands of years. Were they tracking time on a cosmic scale, encoding knowledge of the heavens into their monuments to be understood far into the future? If so, Orion was not merely a decorative inspiration. It was a chronometer, a bridge between human life and the eternal sky. Some researchers suggest that Orion was chosen for more than practical reasons. Across ancient cultures, Orion is often linked to death, resurrection, and transformation. In Egyptian mythology, Orion is associated with Osiris, god of the afterlife. The constellation becomes a symbol of rebirth, echoing the pharaoh's journey and perhaps even the cycles of human civilization. Could it be that Orion was seen as a cosmic teacher, a beacon connecting the mortal world to divine forces? Its repetition across cultures is difficult to dismiss as coincidence, but Orion holds a more enigmatic secret. Certain megalithic sites in Europe, such as the passage tombs of Newgrange and Northern Ireland, also appear to reference the constellation, using light and shadow to align with the stars during specific times of the year. In some cases, the alignments coincide with solstices or lunar cycles, integrating Orion into broader celestial systems. This implies a sophisticated knowledge of not just individual stars, but of the interconnections among the heavens. The stars were part of a living network, and Orion was a central node in that cosmic web. In South America, the Nazca lines in Peru present another layer of mystery. Some researchers argue that the massive geoglyphs mirror star patterns, including Orion, visible in the night sky above the desert. Carved into the earth thousands of years ago, these lines can only be fully appreciated from the sky, suggesting a deliberate attempt to link Earth with the heavens. The global recurrence of Orion in these diverse contexts, from pyramids to geoglyphs, from myths to monuments, suggests that humanity was collectively drawn to this constellation, perceiving its significance across cultures that never communicated directly. There is also a subtle, almost chilling, emotional resonance to Orion. In many traditions, the constellation is tied to cycles of life and death, to journeys of the soul, and to warnings of celestial events. It is a marker not only of time but of destiny, guiding humans both practically and spiritually. The repeated focus on Orion across civilizations implies a shared understanding that the stars were not indifferent, but alive with meaning, capable of instructing, warning, and inspiring. Yet Orion's secret is not fully revealed in mythology or alignment alone. Some scholars suggest that the constellation encodes knowledge of even older cataclysms, such as floods or celestial impacts. In Göbekli Tepe and other ancient sites, animal carvings and abstract symbols appear to map onto the stars, perhaps recording events tied to Orion's position in the sky. Could Orion have been a celestial anchor, helping early humans remember and transmit knowledge of survival, catastrophe, and cosmic cycles? If so, the constellation's repeated presence across continents takes on new significance. It becomes a record, a mnemonic, and perhaps even a warning left for future generations. The more we study Orion, the more it seems that prehistoric humans were engaged in a deliberate dialogue with the stars. They traced its belt, its sword, and its surrounding clusters, encoding their observations into myths, monuments, and geoglyphs. Orion becomes both a scientific tool and a spiritual guide, a bridge between the tangible and the transcendent. Its secret lies not just in alignment or mythology, but in its persistent presence in human consciousness. And yet, even as modern researchers uncover these alignments and myths, the full meaning of Orion eludes us. Was it simply an exceptional constellation that naturally drew attention, or was there something inherent in its position and brightness that demanded recognition? Was Orion the key to understanding the cosmos, or a symbol for a deeper truth about humanity's place in the universe? Perhaps the answer is both. Orion served as a map, a clock, a spiritual guide, and a record of human understanding across millennia. Standing beneath the constellation tonight, it is difficult not to feel the same or that ancient humans felt. Its stars shine with a brilliance that has survived time, guiding countless generations. They remind us that the cosmos is not distant or indifferent, but intimately connected to human life. Orion is a teacher, a guardian, a secret passed down through generations. And as we begin to trace its influence across history, from pyramids to petroglyphs, from myths to monuments, we glimpse the remarkable ambition of our ancestors to map the heavens, encode their knowledge, and leave a legacy that reaches far beyond their own time. Orion's secret is a testament to human curiosity, ingenuity, and reverence. It reveals a civilization capable of extraordinary observation, capable of embedding knowledge in stone, earth, and story. It reminds us that the sky has always been a mirror, reflecting not just the stars, but our hopes, our fears, and our relentless desire to understand the universe. And as we continue to uncover its traces across the world, Orion challenges us to ask the most profound question of all: what other secrets have our ancestors left written across the heavens, waiting for us to find them? Long before ships had compasses or maps, humans crossed vast oceans guided only by the stars. The night sky was their atlas, and the patterns of light above determined the fate of entire communities. In the Pacific, Polynesian navigators memorized hundreds of stars, their rising and setting marking the paths to distant islands hundreds or thousands of miles away. These were not casual observations. They were precise, living maps, carried in memory and passed down through generations. And astonishingly, across the world, other civilizations were doing something remarkably similar. In the Americas, indigenous peoples aligned their rituals, structures, and calendars with the same constellations that guided sailors in Polynesia. Orion, the Pleiades, Sirius, bright, unmistakable, and significant, appears again and again. These were the same stars, identified and revered by societies separated by thousands of miles of ocean and land, with no known contact. How could such knowledge converge so consistently? Some might claim coincidence, yet the precision and recurrence suggest a deeper, almost instinctive, connection to the sky. The Aboriginal peoples of Australia, for example, possess an extraordinary understanding of the night sky, encoded in stories and ceremonies that continue to this day. Their myths describe star beings shaping the land, guiding human actions, and teaching laws of survival. The Pleiades, for instance, appear in tales that mirror the motions of the cluster in the sky. It is more than legend. It is a navigational and seasonal tool, an oral star map that has persisted for tens of thousands of years. This demonstrates that memory, narrative, and observation were sufficient to transmit complex celestial knowledge across generations, without written records. Across the Pacific, Polynesian navigators expanded this knowledge into a sophisticated science of open ocean travel. Using the stars as their compass, the sun and moon as their clock, and the wind and waves as their guide, they traversed thousands of miles of water with uncanny accuracy. Orion's belt marked direction, while the rising of certain stars indicated seasons and winds. Their skill was passed orally, encoded in chants and stories, yet it was precise enough to allow them to populate nearly every habitable island in the Pacific. The stars were not decoration, they were survival, and they were proof of a shared human understanding of the cosmos. In Mesoamerica, the Maya recorded astronomical cycles with staggering accuracy. Venus, in particular, was a marker for warfare and ritual, while constellations such as Orion guided agricultural practices and ceremonial timing. Thousands of miles away, Egyptian priests were aligning pyramids and tombs with the same constellation. Despite the geographic separation, these ancient peoples consistently looked to the same stars for guidance, timing, and meaning. The repetition is not random. It suggests a common recognition of cosmic order, a shared language written in the heavens. This global recurrence raises a tantalizing question. Did humans independently observe these stars and attribute significance to them? Or was knowledge of the heavens transmitted somehow, deliberately, across vast distances and generations? Some researchers have suggested the possibility of ancient connections, trade, migration, or even lost voyages that linked distant cultures. Others hint at something even more mysterious, that the stars themselves carry a message, and that all humans are instinctively drawn to decode it in similar ways. The emotional resonance of this pattern cannot be overstated. Imagine standing on a Polynesian canoe under the stars, tracing a path to an island hundreds of miles away. Imagine a Maya farmer in the jungle, planting crops according to the rise of Orion. Imagine Aboriginal elders telling stories of ancestors in the sky, their memory encoding survival strategies, laws, and morality. Across continents and eras, humans looked up at the same sky and found guidance, wonder, and meaning. The stars were a shared inheritance, connecting people separated by oceans, mountains, and centuries. There is also an eerie consistency in how these star patterns are represented in monuments and artifacts. The Nebra sky disk in Europe, the star charts of the Maya, the oral star maps of Polynesia, all encode the same clusters and cycles. Even when separated by thousands of years and vast distances, humans seem compelled to map the same constellations. It is as if the cosmos itself dictated these patterns, leaving its imprint on human culture and consciousness. Yet this universal focus on the stars was not merely for navigation or agriculture. Many myths tie celestial knowledge to morality, destiny, and divine instruction. Across cultures, the stars are imbued with agency. They are teachers, observers, and sometimes enforcers of cosmic law. Following them meant aligning human activity with forces far greater than ourselves. This dual function, practical and spiritual, demonstrates the depth of understanding that ancient peoples had about the sky. The stars were maps, but they were also mentors. And then comes the twist. Despite this shared understanding, much of it has been lost, misinterpreted, or dismissed. The precision of Polynesian voyaging, the alignment of Maya temples, the celestial carvings of European megaliths. Modern science often underestimates what prehistoric humans could achieve. These ancient peoples were not naive stargazers. They were expert observers, codifying their knowledge across oceans, continents, and generations. The stars guided their survival, their culture, and their very identity. As we look back, it is humbling to realize that the same sky has always united humanity. From the Pacific to the Americas, from Europe to Africa, humans were observing, recording, and decoding the same constellations. These shared stars remind us that, despite differences in language, culture, and geography, our ancestors were connected by something profound, a mutual curiosity about the cosmos and a desire to understand their place within it. Across oceans, the same stars shine. They are evidence of a human continuum, a thread of knowledge that links disparate cultures across time and space. They remind us that ancient peoples were not isolated. They were participants in a global conversation with the universe, one that we are only beginning to comprehend. The sky was both a guide and a teacher, and humanity listened. The legacy is clear. The stars above us are more than distant points of light. They are connectors of civilizations, custodians of knowledge, and witnesses to human ingenuity. By following the same constellations that guided our ancestors, we trace a path through time, revealing a shared history written not in stone or parchment, but in the night sky itself. The stars remain, as they always have, bridging oceans, generations, and civilizations, whispering their secrets to those who dare to look and listen. In the hidden corners of history, there exists a knowledge so profound that it was often shrouded in secrecy, restricted to the initiated, and sometimes deliberately erased. Across civilizations, from the priests of ancient Egypt to secretive guilds in Europe, there were those who understood the patterns of the heavens in ways the common populace could not. This knowledge, encoded in star maps, monuments, and myths, was both powerful and dangerous. It held the potential to predict celestial events, dictate agriculture and navigation, and even influence political and spiritual authority. To possess it was to wield control over life itself. In Egypt, the Temple of Karnak and the pyramids were aligned not only with Orion or Sirius, but also with complex lunar and solar cycles. Only a select group of priests and astronomers had the training to interpret these alignments, turning the sky into a cosmic ledger. They understood eclipses, solstices, and the intricate dance of the planets. This knowledge gave them unparalleled power, predicting harvests, advising pharaohs, and determining religious ceremonies that governed the fate of the populace. Yet, most people lived in or without comprehension. their trust and fear reinforcing the authority of those who knew. A similar pattern appears in Mesopotamia, where scribes recorded the movements of the planets on clay tablets. The Enuma Anu Enlil series, a collection of astrological texts, contains thousands of predictions and observations spanning centuries. Access to this knowledge was limited to scholars trained in the secrets of the heavens. Ordinary citizens could not decipher these cryptic messages, yet their lives were profoundly affected by them. Star maps were not just scientific tools. They were instruments of control and guardians of a hidden cosmic order. In Mesoamerica, the Maya encoded astronomical knowledge in their codices and pyramids. The cycles of Venus, eclipses, and other celestial phenomena were carefully documented, but the information was guarded by priests. To the uninitiated, these rituals appeared mystical. To the trained, they were precise calculations linking human activity to the movements of the stars. Knowledge of the heavens became a form of authority, a sacred power that could determine the timing of war, agriculture, and religious observance. But why was this knowledge forbidden or secretive? Part of the reason lies in its sheer complexity. It required careful observation, mathematical skill, and memorization over decades, even generations. Another reason was power. Those who controlled the information controlled societies. Knowledge of the sky equated to control over life cycles, harvests, and divine favor. It was a language of influence, coded into myths, monuments, and rituals. Misinterpretation or misuse could bring disaster. Hence, secrecy was both practical and strategic. The danger of this knowledge becomes more intriguing when we consider evidence from more mysterious corners of history. The Nebra sky disk in Germany, buried and hidden for centuries, is a sophisticated star map of unparalleled accuracy. Why bury it? Some scholars suggest it was a deliberate act to protect knowledge from misuse or to conceal it from rival groups. Across cultures, we see similar patterns. Knowledge of the stars was often restricted, and attempts to democratize it were met with resistance. The heavens were a privilege reserved for those deemed worthy. Even in Europe, during the Middle Ages, secret societies preserved astronomical and astrological wisdom through oral tradition and coded manuscripts. The Templars, alchemists, and astrologers all guarded star knowledge, believing it was dangerous in the wrong hands. Some texts describe methods to predict eclipses, equinoxes, and planetary alignments with extraordinary precision. In many cases, this knowledge was linked to prophecy, suggesting that the stars could influence human destiny. To be literate in the sky was to hold forbidden power. And yet, fragments of this knowledge sometimes seeped into public consciousness through myths, folklore, and rituals. Ordinary people absorbed these ideas without understanding their full meaning. Festivals, ceremonies, and architecture became conduits for cosmic wisdom. The common observer witnessed celestial events, participated in rituals, and followed agricultural cycles dictated by the stars, but the underlying principles remained hidden, preserved for the initiated. It is a delicate balance. The heavens were public, yet their secrets remained private. The psychological dimension of forbidden knowledge cannot be ignored. Across cultures, secrecy imbued the cosmos with awe and fear. The stars were not just distant lights. They were guardians of wisdom, punishing those who approached unprepared. Myths frequently describe celestial beings punishing humans who overstepped boundaries, stole knowledge, or misinterpreted signs. This reinforced the authority of those who understood the sky, while keeping the rest of humanity in reverent compliance. Knowledge of the heavens was thus both empowering and dangerous. There is also an emotional weight to this secrecy. Imagine generations of humans observing the stars, recording patterns, and developing complex systems of knowledge, only to hide them in stone, parchment, or memory. The fear of misuse, the desire for control, and the reverence for the cosmos all combined to create a tradition of guarded wisdom. These secrets were not arbitrary. They were considered life-altering, capable of predicting famine, guiding migration, and even foretelling celestial events that could devastate entire civilizations. The hidden nature of this knowledge raises profound questions. How much have we lost? How many star maps, rituals, and monuments remain undiscovered or misinterpreted. And more provocatively, what truths did ancient humans understand about the cosmos that we have yet to rediscover? Every discovery, from the Nebra disk to the alignment of pyramids and megaliths, suggests that prehistoric civilizations possessed sophisticated astronomical insight. Yet much of it was deliberately concealed, passed down only to those deemed worthy, ensuring that some of the universe's secrets remain forbidden. Finally, there is a modern echo of this forbidden knowledge. When we uncover ancient star maps, we confront the realization that humanity has always sought to decode the cosmos, and that our ancestors achieved astonishing precision and understanding long before modern tools existed. But the sense of secrecy, of privileged knowledge, reminds us that wisdom is often layered, accessible only to those willing to observe, study, and reflect. Perhaps the stars themselves are still teaching us this lesson, that knowledge is powerful, and with power comes responsibility. The forbidden knowledge of the heavens is not just about history. It is about perspective. It reminds us that the cosmos has always been a repository of wisdom, guidance, and mystery, and that humanity's earliest attempts to map it were deliberate, careful, and profound. Every hidden alignment, every buried artifact, every secret myth carries the weight of generations who dared to look up, decode patterns, and preserve insights for those who could listen. As we trace these secret paths across time and civilizations, a chilling truth emerges. The stars were not merely observed, they were understood, guarded, and revered. And in that understanding, we glimpse the extraordinary ambition of humanity, the lengths our ancestors went to protect cosmic knowledge, and the enduring power of the heavens to shape life on Earth. The forbidden knowledge waits patiently, hidden in plain sight, challenging us to uncover its lessons and confront the extraordinary intelligence of those who came before. For ancient civilizations, time was not abstract. It was alive, measured not in hours or minutes but in the cycles of the heavens. The sun, moon, stars, and planets were the clocks of prehistoric humanity, guiding planting, harvesting, navigation, and ritual. Across the world, humans created what one might call a cosmic calendar, a system that fused observation with art, architecture, and story. It was not merely a tool, it was a living record of the universe's rhythms, encoded in monuments, stone circles, and star maps. And the precision of these calendars is astonishing, suggesting knowledge that reaches far beyond what we often credit to our ancestors. In Egypt, the rising of Sirius heralded the annual flooding of the Nile, a life-giving event crucial for agriculture. Priests tracked this celestial cue with painstaking care, aligning temples and pyramids to ensure that the cycles of the stars coincided with the cycles of the land. The calendar was both practical and sacred, intertwining survival with ritual. Missing a single observation could mean misjudging the flood or misaligning ceremonies that held spiritual and political significance. The stars dictated life itself, and understanding them was an act of power. Across Europe, the megalithic structures of Stonehenge, Newgrange, and Karnak serve as living examples of cosmic calendars. At Stonehenge, the alignment of the heel stone with the sunrise on the solstice marks not only the passage of the year but also the preparation for planting and ritual. In Ireland, Newgrange captures the rising sun during the winter solstice, illuminating the inner chamber with eerie precision. These monuments were calendars in stone, designed to preserve and transmit knowledge across generations, ensuring that the cycles of the heavens were never forgotten. The sophistication extends beyond the sun and moon. Many ancient calendars incorporated lunar cycles, eclipses, and planetary movements. The Maya, for instance, tracked Venus with extraordinary accuracy, using its position to plan wars, religious events, and agricultural activity. Similarly, in Mesopotamia, scribes recorded the movement of planets and predicted eclipses, embedding these calculations into clay tablets that acted as durable, long-term records. Across civilizations, the principle was consistent. The sky was a clock, and its cycles dictated human life. Yet the cosmic calendar was not only about survival. It was also about understanding and prediction. The ability to anticipate eclipses, solstices, and planetary alignments gave humans a profound sense of control in an uncertain world. Knowledge of the heavens was a bridge between chaos and order, between the unpredictable rhythms of life and the steady, reliable motion of celestial bodies. For the initiated, the cosmic calendar provided insight into destiny, offering guidance on when to act, when to build, and when to honor the gods. Consider the Nebra sky disk again. While it is small, portable, and deceptively simple, it encodes lunar phases, the solstices, and a Pleiades cluster that marks seasonal changes. Its creators were essentially carrying a pocket cosmic calendar, a sophisticated tool for coordinating agriculture and ritual. The idea that such precision existed more than 3,000 years ago is remarkable, especially when we consider the limited technological resources of the time. It is evidence that prehistoric humans were not passive observers. They were meticulous recorders and planners, translating the motions of the heavens into actionable knowledge. In the Pacific, Polynesian navigators took the concept of a cosmic calendar even further. They memorized star positions to track seasonal winds and ocean currents, using Orion, Sirius, and other constellations as temporal markers. This knowledge was entirely oral, passed from master to apprentice through song, story, and ceremony. Yet it functioned as a fully operational calendar, enabling long voyages across thousands of miles of open ocean with precision unmatched in many parts of the world. The cosmic calendar also had an emotional and spiritual dimension. Observing and recording the heavens created a sense of continuity and connection, linking human life to the rhythms of the universe. Festivals, rituals, and ceremonies were not arbitrary. They were aligned with celestial cycles, reinforcing the bonds between people, the land, and the cosmos. In doing so, ancient humans embedded memory, culture, and survival strategies into the very fabric of time itself. But the calendar was not always simple or linear. Some structures, such as the megalithic sites in Brittany or Malta, incorporated complex cycles, including lunar standstills and long-term astronomical periods spanning decades or even centuries. This indicates that early humans were not merely tracking time. They were observing patterns on scales that challenge modern assumptions about prehistoric cognition. They were architects of temporal knowledge, designing systems that allowed civilizations to thrive in alignment with cosmic rhythms. There is also a hidden sophistication in combining celestial observations with myth and ritual. Across cultures, the stories associated with the stars acted as mnemonic devices, encoding knowledge of timing, cycles, and natural events. The rising of Orion's belt or the Pleiades might signal planting, while Venus' appearance dictated ceremony or war. The myths and stars together created a robust, multi-layered calendar that was both practical and memorable, ensuring that even without written records, cosmic knowledge could survive. And yet, much of this knowledge was deliberately hidden. Only the initiated, the priests, shamans, and astronomers, could fully interpret the cosmic calendar. For ordinary people, the alignment of stars and rituals seemed magical or divine. Knowledge was power, and the forbidden or secret nature of the calendar reinforced social hierarchies and spiritual authority. The sky was public, but its deeper truths were accessible only to those trained to understand its cycles. The cosmic calendar also reminds us that prehistoric humans were acutely aware of time scales far beyond a single human lifetime. They tracked movements of the stars and planets that spanned decades and even centuries. This awareness suggests a philosophical and existential depth, the recognition that human life is brief against the vast backdrop of the cosmos, yet intimately connected to its eternal cycles. In a very real sense, the cosmic calendar was a way of situating humanity in the universe, giving meaning and order to existence itself. By examining these ancient calendars, we begin to see a pattern of sophistication, intention, and reverence. Humans have always sought to understand time not as an abstract concept, but as a living, breathing phenomenon tied to survival, spirituality, and cosmic insight. The legacy of these calendars persists in our modern understanding of astronomy and timekeeping, Yet it also challenges us to reconsider the capabilities and ambitions of our ancestors. The cosmic calendar is more than stone, stars, or tablets. It is a bridge between past and present, between humans and the universe. It is a reminder that our ancestors were not merely surviving. They were actively decoding the cosmos, recording its rhythms, and embedding its wisdom in structures, stories, and memory. And as we piece together these ancient systems, we glimpse a profound truth. The cycles of the heavens have always been humanity's most enduring teacher, guiding life, ritual, and destiny with silent, precise, and eternal authority. Across continents, ancient civilizations developed independently, yet shared a strikingly similar relationship with the cosmos. From the deserts of Egypt to the jungles of Mesoamerica, from the Pacific Islands to the plains of Europe, humans looked to the stars not merely for navigation or timekeeping, but as a framework for culture, governance, and spirituality. These star-linked civilizations were bound together by a common instinct to align life, architecture, and ritual with the rhythms of the heavens. Their similarities, often separated by thousands of miles and centuries, suggest that the cosmos was a universal teacher, inspiring parallel discoveries and reverence across the globe. In Egypt, the pharaohs' tombs and temples were meticulously aligned with Orion, Sirius, and the solstices. These celestial alignments were not decorative. They reflected a worldview in which human life and cosmic cycles were inseparable. The stars were guides for rulers, symbols of divine authority, and tools for predicting seasonal and agricultural cycles. Priests interpreted the heavens to advise kings, and monumental architecture encoded astronomical knowledge for posterity. This integration of science, spirituality, and power exemplifies how the Egyptians connected their civilization to the stars. Meanwhile, in Mesopotamia, the Sumerians and Babylonians observed the planets and stars with remarkable precision, recording their movements on clay tablets. Their mythologies, such as the tales of the Anunnaki, intertwined with celestial events, suggesting that these stories were more than allegory. They were maps of the sky, instructions for governance, and perhaps even guides to survival. The repeated observation of certain stars and planets allowed these civilizations to predict eclipses, seasonal changes, and celestial cycles with a sophistication that rivals modern understanding. Knowledge of the stars was power, and it was meticulously preserved. Across the Atlantic, the Maya and other Mesoamerican civilizations built observatories, pyramids, and temples aligned with Venus, Orion, and other key celestial bodies. The Dresden Codex contains complex tables predicting eclipses and tracking planetary movements, while monuments and ceremonial centers encode precise astronomical knowledge in their orientation and design. The stars dictated agricultural cycles, ceremonial timing, and even the legitimacy of rulers. The Maya, like the Egyptians and Mesopotamians, demonstrate a fusion of observation, ritual, and governance, all guided by the heavens. Even the Pacific Islands were not exempt from this global fascination with the cosmos. Polynesian navigators memorized hundreds of stars to traverse vast ocean distances. Their skill required knowledge of seasonal star positions, planetary movements, and subtle environmental cues like wave patterns and wind. The stars were maps, clocks, and guides to survival. In essence, the Polynesians built a culture entirely intertwined with the cosmos, carrying celestial knowledge across thousands of miles of open ocean, long before modern instruments existed. Europe, too, presents remarkable evidence of star-linked civilizations. Megalithic sites in Britain, France, and Malta were constructed with astronomical precision. Stone circles, passage tombs, and standing stones aligned with solstices, lunar cycles, and notable stars. These structures suggest a sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics, despite the absence of writing or complex tools. They demonstrate that prehistoric Europeans, like their counterparts in Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Mesoamerica, were attuned to the same cosmic rhythms and sought to embed this knowledge into monumental architecture. What is striking about these civilizations is not just their individual achievements but their shared approach. They observed the same stars, tracked the same cycles, and integrated celestial knowledge into religion, governance, and daily life. The recurring motifs of Orion, the Pleiades, and Venus suggest a universal recognition of certain celestial bodies as guides, teachers, and symbols of power. These stars became a common language, transcending geography, culture, and time. Yet there are mysteries that deepen the intrigue. How did such similar star-based systems arise independently across the world? Was it purely coincidence, a reflection of the brightest stars standing out in the sky? Or is there a deeper connection, perhaps a shared ancestral knowledge or natural human instinct to recognize certain celestial patterns as significant? The consistency is uncanny. Star-linked civilizations, separated by oceans and continents, developed remarkably similar ways of observing, interpreting, and codifying celestial knowledge. The implications are profound. If disparate cultures were guided by the same stars and integrated them into religion, architecture, and governance, it suggests a universal human drive to seek understanding and order in the cosmos. The stars were not merely objects of wonder. They were frameworks around which societies could organize themselves, make predictions, and pass wisdom across generations. Human culture, in a sense, was inseparable from the heavens. Emotionally, the idea of star-linked civilizations is staggering. Imagine the awe of a Maya astronomer charting Venus, an Egyptian priest predicting the Nile's flood, a Polynesian navigator reading Orion to find a distant island. Across thousands of miles, human eyes followed the same patterns, hearts synchronized with the same celestial rhythms, minds decoding the same cosmic truths. These were independent threads of civilization, yet woven together by the shared loom of the sky. The monuments, myths, and rituals that survive today are evidence of this profound connection. They reveal societies that were not isolated or primitive but deeply observant, mathematically skilled, and spiritually attuned. The stars were both practical and mystical, guiding agriculture, governance, and religious life while inspiring stories, legends, and monuments that endure to this day. There is also a hidden sophistication in the integration of celestial knowledge with social structures. In all star-linked civilizations, elites, priests, astronomers, and rulers used their understanding of the sky to consolidate power, guide decision-making, and legitimize authority. Knowledge of the cosmos became intertwined with survival and influence, creating a hierarchy where the stars themselves dictated social order. The heavens were not only observed, they were interpreted, codified, and preserved as instruments of civilization. And yet, there is a twist. Despite this remarkable sophistication, much of this knowledge was lost, buried, or misinterpreted over time. The continuity of celestial observation was fragile, threatened by conquest, climate change, and the passage of centuries. What survives today, monuments, codices, oral traditions, is only a fraction of the knowledge once encoded across continents. The star-linked civilizations challenge us to reconsider what we know about prehistoric human ingenuity and the depth of understanding achieved by cultures long before modern science. Ultimately, the study of these civilizations reveals a profound truth. Humans across the world have always sought connection with the cosmos. The stars were maps, teachers, and guardians of knowledge. They inspired architecture, religion, governance, and exploration. They linked civilizations separated by vast distances, forming a network of understanding that transcends geography and time. By tracing these connections, we begin to see a shared human story written not in stone alone, but across the heavens themselves. The star-linked civilizations remind us that the sky is not merely a backdrop to human history. It is an active participant in it. The same stars that guided the Nile priests, Maya astronomers, and Polynesian navigators continue to shine today, connecting us to our ancestors' ingenuity and relentless curiosity. They invite us to look upward, to decode the patterns, and to remember that humanity's story has always been written among the stars. Scattered across the globe are remnants of structures that hint at a lost mastery of the stars. They are silent witnesses to a time when humans studied the heavens with astonishing precision, creating observatories not for spectacle but for survival, ritual, and knowledge. Many of these sites have been forgotten, buried beneath centuries of soil, sand, or civilization, their true purpose obscured. Yet their alignments, carvings, and positions speak with clarity to those who look closely. These were observatories, carefully designed to read the cosmos. In the deserts of Egypt, smaller temples and subsidiary pyramids align with key stars, solstices, and lunar cycles. The Great Pyramid is well known, but surrounding it are lesser-known structures that act as observational points, marking stellar risings and setting points across the horizon. These lost observatories were not isolated. They formed networks that allowed priests to track celestial events with precision. Each alignment, each shaft, each chamber is a testament to an understanding of the sky that was both practical and sacred. In Mesoamerica, sites like Uxmal, Chichen Itza, and Teotihuacan contain hidden observatories. The Mayan El Caracol at Chichen Itza, for example, has windows and spiraling staircases aligned to track Venus, the Sun, and other celestial bodies. From these vantage points, priests could monitor the heavens, making calculations critical for agriculture, ceremony, and politics. These observatories were not just instruments. They were temples where knowledge of the cosmos and spiritual authority converged. Europe, too, conceals lost observatories in plain sight. Megalithic structures, stone circles, and passage tombs reveal an extraordinary awareness of solar, lunar, and stellar cycles. Many of these sites, like Callanish in Scotland or the Göseck Circle in Germany, were carefully oriented to mark solstices, equinoxes, and notable star risings. While the precise methods of construction remain debated, the sophistication is undeniable. These ancient astronomers observed the same stars that guided civilizations on distant continents, suggesting a shared human engagement with the heavens. The twist deepens when we examine South America. Sites in Peru, such as the Intihuatana at Machu Picchu and other Inca observatories, were designed to capture light and shadow during solstices and equinoxes. But beyond solar tracking, evidence suggests they also monitored the movement of constellations like Orion. The structure's placement on mountain ridges and peaks allowed uninterrupted views of the horizon, creating natural observatories that connected Earth and sky. For the Incas, observation was not academic. It was sacred, functional, and tied directly to human survival. Why were so many observatories lost? Part of the answer lies in the passage of time. Structures eroded, cities fell, and knowledge faded. But there is also evidence of deliberate concealment. Powerful elites often restricted knowledge of the stars to maintain control. Certain observatories may have been intentionally hidden, their purpose known only to initiates. In other cases, invasions and cultural collapse obscured the function of these sites, leaving them as enigmatic monuments for later generations to puzzle over. The emotional impact of rediscovering these lost observatories is profound. Imagine uncovering a stone circle in Europe, perfectly aligned with a rising sun on a solstice, or a Mayan tower oriented to Venus after centuries of neglect. These discoveries force us to confront the intelligence, patience, and devotion of ancient peoples. They remind us that our ancestors were not primitive. They were meticulous observers, deeply attuned to the cosmos and capable of achieving feats that continue to astonish modern scholars. In addition to orientation, many lost observatories incorporate symbolic carvings, reliefs, and inscriptions. These decorations are often encoded with astronomical data representing star positions, lunar phases, or planetary cycles. The ancients combined mathematics, art, and ritual in a holistic system of knowledge. Observation was not separate from meaning. It was integrated into a worldview that connected the heavens with human existence, morality, and destiny. Across the Pacific, Polynesian navigators used natural landscapes as lost observatories. Mountain peaks, reefs, and islands served as markers for rising stars, seasonal shifts, and ocean currents. This environmental ingenuity allowed them to create an extensive mental map of the cosmos without relying on built structures. The principle was the same as in Egypt or Mesoamerica. Observation of the heavens was practical, spiritual, and socially significant. Civilization itself was entwined with the sky. There is also a hidden universality in these lost observatories. Despite differences in geography, climate, and culture, the design principles are remarkably consistent. Alignment with solstices, equinoxes, prominent stars, and planetary movements, integration of observation with ritual, and incorporation into larger networks of monuments. This global pattern suggests a shared human impulse to record, honor, and decode the sky, even when separated by thousands of miles and centuries. Yet the observatories also hint at something more mysterious. Certain sites, like Göbekli Tepe or the complex carvings in Malta, may encode knowledge of celestial events and cataclysms that predate written history. The precision with which these structures capture astronomical cycles suggests not just observation but prediction. Our ancestors were not merely recording the present. They were anticipating the future, linking human life to cosmic cycles on a scale that challenges modern understanding. The emotional resonance of these lost observatories cannot be understated. They are silent yet powerful reminders of human curiosity, ingenuity, and reverence. Standing in the shadow of a stone aligned to Orion or the solstice, one can sense the presence of generations who observed the same sky, recorded the same patterns, and passed knowledge across centuries. There is awe in realizing that humanity's fascination with the cosmos is ancient, continuous, and profound. And there is also an unanswered question: how much knowledge has been lost forever? How many observatories, star maps, and inscriptions remain hidden beneath soil, sand, or forest? What cosmic insights did our ancestors possess that we may never recover? Every discovery challenges us to reconsider our assumptions about prehistoric civilizations and their understanding of the universe. The lost observatories are not merely historical artifacts. They are bridges to a time when humans and the heavens were inseparable. They reveal a world in which observation, spirituality, and survival coexisted, and in which knowledge of the stars was both sacred and practical. They remind us that our ancestors were not only curious, they were meticulous, ingenious, and deeply connected to the cosmos. Rediscovering these observatories forces us to ask, what else lies hidden in plain sight? What secrets of the universe have been encoded in monuments, myths, and landscapes, waiting for those who are willing to look carefully, think deeply, and read the messages left by generations long past? The lost observatories are silent guides, challenging us to follow in the footsteps of ancient astronomers, decode the patterns of the stars, and reconnect with a cosmic wisdom that has endured for millennia. Some secrets of the cosmos were too precious to risk losing to time, so ancient civilizations encoded them into the very stone of their monuments. Across the globe, from the pyramids of Egypt to the megalithic circles of Europe, from the temples of Mesoamerica to the cliff carvings of Asia, we find stone as both record and message. Every alignment, every carving, every proportion is deliberate, designed to preserve knowledge of the heavens, cycles of time, and spiritual truths. These were not mere structures. They were messages in stone, intended to endure across generations. In Egypt, the pyramids are perhaps the most famous example. Their shafts, chambers, and orientations correspond precisely to stars and constellations such as Orion, Sirius, and the circumpolar stars. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not just a tomb. It is a celestial blueprint. The angles and positions of its internal passages mirror star positions, encoding astronomical knowledge that would guide future generations. Stone was a medium of permanence. It allowed the cosmos to be read even millennia later. Europe offers equally compelling examples. At Newgrange in Ireland, a winter solstice sunrise illuminates the inner chamber through a narrow passageway. This is no accident. It is a calculated alignment encoded in stone, ensuring that the event repeats with precision each year. Similarly, Stonehenge is a monumental observatory, where the placement and height of stones allow for observation of solstices, equinoxes, and lunar cycles. The stones themselves carry knowledge, carved, arranged, and positioned with intent, serving as an enduring record of humanity's fascination with the heavens. In Mesoamerica, Mayan and Aztec stonework frequently encodes celestial cycles. The El Castillo Pyramid at Chichen Itza casts shadows along its steps that align with the sun during equinoxes, creating the illusion of a serpent descending the staircase. This alignment encodes the solar cycle in stone, demonstrating both practical knowledge of timekeeping and a profound connection between architecture and cosmology. Every step, every angle, every shadow is a message left for future observers. Even in South America, the Nazca lines and Machu Picchu display encoded celestial knowledge. Giant geoglyphs mirror star constellations, while terraces and windows at Machu Picchu align with solstices and equinoxes. The stones were carefully placed to act as observatories, calendars, and record-keeping devices. The medium itself, earth and stone, was selected for endurance, ensuring that cosmic knowledge would survive long after human lives had passed. Encoding knowledge in stone also served a social purpose. By embedding astronomical insight into monumental architecture, elites reinforced their authority. Priests, kings, and astronomers became custodians of cosmic knowledge. Ordinary people, while aware of ceremonies or festivals, often lacked the expertise to understand the encoded information. The stones carried the power of the cosmos, making the knowledge both permanent and exclusive. This dual purpose, practical and political, reflects the sophisticated strategies of ancient civilizations. The process of encoding was meticulous. Alignments had to account for precession, seasonal changes, and geographic orientation. Carvings were symbolic as well as functional, representing stars, constellations, and celestial events. Many sites use abstract forms, spirals, triangles, and zigzags, to encode cycles, eclipses, or planetary motions. The ancients developed a visual language that combined mathematics, astronomy, and artistry, allowing them to convey complex knowledge across generations without words. There is also an emotional dimension to encoding knowledge in stone. Imagine standing in a chamber at sunrise, witnessing sunlight illuminate carvings that track the passage of time. The experience would have been awe-inspiring, connecting humans with the cosmos and reinforcing the sacredness of their existence. The stones were not just informational. They were transformative, fostering wonder, reflection, and reverence for the natural order. A global pattern emerges. Across continents and millennia, stone has served as humanity's memory, encoding the cosmos, seasons, and celestial cycles. In Malta, the hypogeum aligns with the winter solstice. In Japan, Jomon carvings reflect lunar cycles. In Africa, Nabta Playa aligns with Orion and Sirius. These independent societies, with no apparent contact, encoded the same celestial knowledge using stone as their medium, demonstrating a universal human impulse to preserve cosmic wisdom in enduring form. Yet the encoded knowledge was not always obvious. Many sites were deliberately hidden or cryptic, requiring understanding of celestial patterns or rituals to interpret. The secrecy added power. Knowledge was preserved but protected, ensuring that only those initiated in the ways of the cosmos could decode the message. Stones became both library and lockbox, holding secrets of astronomy, time, and spiritual insight. The twist deepens when we consider that some stone carvings may encode events far older than the monuments themselves. Animal figures, spirals, and geometric patterns may map celestial configurations from tens of thousands of years ago, recording ancient floods, star alignments, or cataclysms. If true, the stones are more than local records. They are archives of human observation, memory, and interpretation of cosmic events spanning prehistory. Emotionally, the realization is staggering. Each stone, aligned and carved with precision, connects us to humans who observed the same stars, cycles, and patterns millennia ago. These civilizations were not simply looking up. They were understanding, predicting, and embedding their knowledge into structures designed to outlast generations. The encoded stone serves as a testament to curiosity, intelligence, and reverence, bridging the gap between the ancient and modern mind. The legacy of these stones continues to challenge us. Archaeologists and astronomers today are only beginning to decode the precise alignments and symbolism embedded in the monuments. As we uncover more, we realize that prehistoric humans possessed a depth of knowledge and observational skill that rivals, and sometimes surpasses, modern expectations. Stone, enduring and silent, preserves their achievements, speaking across time to those willing to see and understand. Ultimately, the stones reveal a profound truth. Humans have always sought permanence, knowledge, and connection to the cosmos. They understood that the sky is not separate from life. It is intertwined with survival, ritual, and identity. By encoding this understanding in stone, our ancestors ensured that the wisdom of the heavens could endure beyond individual lifetimes, a silent but potent legacy challenging us to uncover and appreciate the brilliance of civilizations long past. The stones stand as a bridge between worlds, the earthly and the celestial, the past and the present. They remind us that knowledge, when carefully observed, recorded, and preserved, can transcend generations. And in reading the cosmos encoded in stone, we glimpse a truth that unites humanity across time. Our ancestors were not passive observers of the sky. They were active participants, teachers, and guardians of cosmic knowledge, leaving messages that still speak to us today. The night sky is not merely a backdrop of twinkling lights. It is a language, ancient, universal, and intricate. Across civilizations, humans have read this language, encoding meaning into patterns, movements, and alignments. The stars speak not in words but in cycles, constellations, and celestial events. Those who learned to interpret this cosmic language gained insight into time, survival, ritual, and destiny. From Egypt to Mesoamerica, from Polynesia to Europe, humans developed methods to read the heavens, creating a shared dialogue with the cosmos that transcended geography and generations. In Egypt, priests and astronomers translated the movements of stars into calendars, religious ceremonies, and governance. Orion's belt, for instance, was not just a constellation. It represented Osiris, the god of rebirth, whose alignment guided tomb construction and agricultural timing. Sirius heralded the flooding of the Nile, a signal of life and sustenance. Every celestial observation was a word in a vast, ongoing sentence, one that communicated with the rhythms of the earth itself. The stars dictated not only physical survival but moral and spiritual order. Similarly, the Maya developed a detailed system of astronomical notation, treating celestial events as messages encoded in numbers, cycles, and glyphs. Venus was a key communicator. Its movements were interpreted as omens for war, peace, and agricultural cycles. Lunar phases, eclipses, and solstices all became part of this sophisticated lexicon. Maya scribes could read the sky with precision, translating cosmic movements into decisions that affected entire cities. The heavens were a living text, and the initiated were literate in its language. Across the Pacific, Polynesian navigators used the stars as an oral language. They memoized star paths, seasonal changes, and the motion of celestial bodies to navigate vast stretches of ocean. Stars were words, constellations were sentences, and the horizon itself became punctuation. This knowledge was preserved through songs, chants, and stories, ensuring accuracy across generations. To understand the sky was to understand the ocean, the winds, and the rhythms of life, a mastery encoded in human memory, not paper or stone. Europe's megalithic structures also speak a celestial language. Stone circles, passage tombs, and standing stones are arranged in precise alignment with solstices, equinoxes, and notable stars. The carvings, arrangements, and orientations are not random. They are grammar, syntax, and vocabulary encoded in stone. The rising of the sun or moon through a narrow passage communicates meaning to those who know how to interpret it. These monuments are messages frozen in time, bridging generations through the language of the stars. The language of the stars was multi-layered. It combined observation, symbolism, mathematics, and ritual. Spiral carvings, geometric patterns, and aligned stones encode cycles of the moon, the sun, and planets. Myths and oral traditions act as dictionaries, translating celestial movements into cultural, agricultural, and spiritual meaning. Humans were not just observing. They were interpreting, encoding, and communicating with the universe. Every star was a syllable, every constellation a sentence, and the sky itself a living manuscript. There is also a political dimension to this language. Knowledge of the stars allowed elites, priests, kings, and navigators to predict events, coordinate societies, and assert authority. By understanding celestial messages, they could appear to control destiny, manage agricultural timing, and guide religious ceremonies. The cosmos became both teacher and tool of governance. For those without training, the sky remained mysterious and divine, reinforcing social hierarchies and the sacred power of cosmic literacy. Across civilizations, there is a striking universality to this star language. Despite differences in culture and location, the same constellations, Orion, Pleiades, Sirius, carry meaning, often associated with creation, rebirth, or guidance. This suggests that humans share an instinctive ability to recognize certain celestial patterns as significant. The stars provide a common grammar, a universal vocabulary that transcends distance, geography, and time. It is a cosmic language that binds humanity together, a silent dialogue across millennia. The twist is profound. While the symbols, structures, and stories differ, the underlying principles of celestial literacy are remarkably consistent. Civilizations separated by oceans and continents independently developed methods to encode and interpret the cosmos. The language of the stars was not invented once. It arose multiple times, a testament to humanity's universal fascination with the heavens and the necessity of understanding them for survival. Emotionally, the language of the stars evokes awe and wonder. Imagine a Maya priest interpreting Venus movements to advise kings, an Egyptian astronomer calculating the flood of the Nile, or a Polynesian navigator charting a course across the open ocean. All were reading the same sky, speaking the same cosmic language, and participating in a dialogue that spans generations. This shared literacy connects us to the past in a tangible, emotional way, reminding us of the intelligence, ingenuity, and curiosity of our ancestors. The language of the stars also contains layers of secrecy. Only those trained could fully comprehend it, while the uninitiated witnessed rituals, festivals, and monuments without understanding the encoded knowledge. This secrecy ensured accuracy, preserved power, and maintained the integrity of celestial observation. The language was both practical and esoteric, a dual-purpose system that communicated with the cosmos while structuring society. And yet, fragments of this language survive in myths, folklore, and architecture. Modern researchers can decode alignments, carvings, and oral traditions to uncover sophisticated astronomical understanding. Each discovery reinforces the idea that prehistoric humans were not primitive. They were literate in a language that combines observation, mathematics, ritual, and spirituality. They read the sky with precision, creativity, and purpose, leaving behind a dialogue that continues to inspire wonder. The emotional resonance deepens when we realize that this language connects us to our own existence. The same stars that guided ancient civilizations continue to shine above us. By learning to read their patterns, we are participating in an ancient conversation, reconnecting with the intelligence, insight, and reverence of our ancestors. The language of the stars reminds us that humanity has always sought to understand its place in the universe, and that the cosmos itself has always been both a teacher and a guide. Finally, the language of the stars challenges our assumptions about human capability. Ancient civilizations developed sophisticated methods of observation, encoding, and interpretation without modern technology. Their understanding was holistic, combining mathematics, art, and ritual into a single system of communication. They created a dialogue with the cosmos, ensuring that knowledge could endure across centuries. By decoding this language today, we gain not only historical insight, but also a profound emotional connection to the past and a deeper appreciation for the intelligence and ambition of our ancestors. The stars are still speaking, and as we learn to listen, to trace constellations, understand alignments, and decode myths, we join a conversation that has spanned millennia. The language of the stars is not dead. It is waiting for those willing to observe, reflect, and connect. Humanity's oldest messages are written across the heavens, encoded in light, cycles, and cosmic rhythm. Reading them is an invitation to understand, to marvel, and to recognize that the cosmos has always been and continues to be a source of wisdom, guidance, and inspiration. Throughout history, there have been individuals and societies whose mastery of the cosmos transformed not only their architecture but their entire worldview. They were the cosmic architects, visionaries who designed monuments, cities, and sacred spaces to mirror the heavens, translating astronomical knowledge into enduring stone. Their work reflects a union of science, spirituality, and artistry, a deliberate attempt to connect human existence with the eternal rhythms of the universe. These architects were not merely builders. They were translators of the stars, turning the sky into a tangible, navigable, and sacred landscape. In Egypt, the architects of the pyramids were guided by celestial principles. The Great Pyramid of Giza aligns with the cardinal points and the stars of Orion's belt, reflecting an understanding of stellar motion that required careful observation over decades. Smaller pyramids, temples, and obelisks were similarly aligned, forming a network of cosmic markers that encoded knowledge for priests, pharaohs, and future generations. Every stone, angle, and chamber was meticulously calculated, revealing the architect's dual mastery of mathematics and astronomy. The Maya were equally remarkable. Their cities, such as Chichen Itza, Uxmal, and Tikal, are carefully aligned to the sun, moon, and Venus. Observatories, pyramids, and plazas were oriented to capture solstices, equinoxes, and celestial risings. These cosmic architects integrated urban planning with astronomy, ensuring that the city itself became a living map of the heavens. For the Maya, architecture was not merely functional. It was a bridge between human society and the cosmos, linking rulers, priests, and commoners through celestial cycles. In Europe, megalithic builders acted as cosmic architects long before written records. Sites like Stonehenge, Newgrange, and Karnak demonstrate sophisticated understanding of solstices, lunar standstills, and stellar alignments. The placement of each stone required precise calculation, knowledge of precession, and an understanding of long-term celestial cycles. These builders transformed landscapes into observatories, calendars, and sacred spaces, encoding cosmic knowledge in enduring monuments. The twist deepens when we consider that cosmic architecture was not limited to monumental stone. Polynesian navigators, for instance, designed star paths across the ocean, using islands, reefs, and mountains as reference points. Their understanding of celestial motion, tides, and seasonal shifts allowed them to traverse thousands of miles of open ocean with extraordinary precision. Architecture was ephemeral, constructed of observation and memory rather than stone, but it was no less precise or sophisticated. The landscape itself became a map, and the human mind its instrument. The work of cosmic architects often carried profound social and spiritual significance. Aligning structures with stars or solstices was not merely symbolic. It influenced agriculture, ritual, governance, and cultural cohesion. Priests and rulers derived authority from their knowledge of the heavens, legitimizing leadership through celestial alignment. Ordinary people experienced the effects of cosmic design in their daily lives through the timing of planting, harvesting, or participation in festivals and ceremonies. Architecture became a tool of both knowledge and power, where the sky itself sanctioned human order. Symbolism played a key role in cosmic architecture. Constellations, planetary paths, and solar movements were encoded in geometry, carvings, and orientation. Spiral patterns, pyramidal shapes, and aligned passageways were visual languages, translating the abstract mathematics of the cosmos into tangible forms. Each building, plaza, or monument was a sentence in the larger story of humanity's connection to the universe, a story written in stone, space, and shadow. Emotionally, the legacy of cosmic architects is staggering. Imagine a priest or builder observing the sky night after night, measuring angles, noting solstices, and calculating alignments over decades. Their work required patience, precision, and a vision that extended far beyond their lifetime. They were not only observers of the heavens, they were participants in a grand dialogue with the universe, leaving a legacy that would endure thousands of years. There is also evidence that cosmic architects anticipated changes in the sky. Structures at Göbekli Tepe, Malta, and Nabta Playa suggest awareness of precession and long-term astronomical cycles. This implies a level of observation and calculation that challenges modern assumptions about prehistoric civilizations. These architects were forward-thinking, embedding knowledge in enduring form to guide future generations. Their work reflects a profound understanding of both the universe and humanity's place within it. In Mesoamerica, cosmic architects encoded complex calendrical cycles into their cities. The Maya-long count calendar, Venus cycles, and eclipse predictions were embedded in the orientation of temples, pyramids, and ceremonial plazas. The precision of these alignments indicates a sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and ritual timing. By encoding time itself into architecture, these civilizations ensured that knowledge of the cosmos would survive, guiding not only practical activities but spiritual and cultural life. Across the world, cosmic architects share a unifying principle. They made the invisible visible. The sky, with its endless cycles and distant lights, was intangible, yet these architects translated it into forms that could be touched, experienced, and interpreted. Stone, earth, and landscape became instruments of communication, bridging human perception with celestial reality. This transformation of observation into structure is one of humanity's most remarkable achievements, revealing intelligence, creativity, and devotion in equal measure. The emotional resonance of cosmic architecture continues to captivate us today. Standing within the shadow of a solstice-aligned temple, tracing the path of sunlight through an ancient observatory, or following the stone markers of a megalithic circle, we feel a connection to those who built with knowledge, foresight, and reverence. We witness the same sky they observed, and in doing so, we participate in an ancient continuum of curiosity, observation, and understanding. Yet there remains a mystery. How much knowledge of the cosmos has been lost to time? How many structures, alignments, and insights have been buried, forgotten, or misinterpreted? Each discovery reminds us that the work of cosmic architects was often deliberate, precise, and encoded with meaning that may take centuries to fully decode. Their legacy challenges us to reconsider the capabilities of ancient humans and to approach their achievements with humility and awe. The cosmic architects reveal a timeless truth. Humanity has always sought to connect with the universe, to measure, interpret, and harmonize with its rhythms. Their work blends science, art, and spirituality, creating structures that are simultaneously practical, symbolic, and eternal. They remind us that the universe is not distant or separate. It is intertwined with human life, and understanding it requires patience, observation, and imagination. Ultimately, the legacy of the cosmic architects is both intellectual and emotional. They invite us to look beyond the surface of monuments and landscapes, to trace alignments, decode patterns, and recognize the brilliance of civilizations long past. By following their vision, we gain insight into the ingenuity of our ancestors and the enduring connection between humanity and the cosmos. The stars, and the structures built in their honor, continue to guide, inspire, and challenge us, reminding us that the pursuit of cosmic knowledge is as timeless as the heavens themselves. The pyramids of Egypt are more than tombs. They are silent witnesses to a civilization's obsession with the cosmos, death, and eternity. Rising from the sands of Giza, these monumental structures reflect a knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering that continues to astonish modern scholars. Every stone, passageway, and alignment suggests deliberate design, a calculated attempt to connect human existence with the eternal rhythms of the universe. The pyramids are cosmic instruments in stone, carrying secrets that have endured for millennia. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built around 4,500 years ago, is aligned with almost uncanny precision to the cardinal points. Its internal shafts point toward Orion and Sirius, linking the pharaoh's journey after death to the heavens. Scholars speculate that this alignment was intended to guide the soul of the deceased pharaoh to the stars, particularly to Osiris in Orion. The precision of this alignment, achieved with primitive tools, underscores the Egyptians' sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics. Beyond orientation, the pyramids encode mathematical and astronomical knowledge. The dimensions of the Great Pyramid reflect the Earth's measurements, incorporating ratios and proportions that connect human scale to cosmic scale. Some researchers suggest that these proportions encode knowledge of pi and the Earth's dimensions, embedding a form of cosmic literacy into stone. The Egyptians were not only building tombs, they were creating enduring messages about humanity's place in the universe. The secondary pyramids and surrounding structures were also carefully positioned, forming a network of cosmic markers across the plateau. Temples, causeways, and smaller pyramids align with solstices, the rising and setting of specific stars, and the lunar cycle. This architectural network functioned as a celestial observatory, calendar, and ritual center, intertwining the lives of priests, rulers, and the population with the cycles of the heavens. Knowledge of these alignments was likely restricted to a select group of initiates, adding layers of secrecy and authority to the system. A particularly mysterious aspect of the pyramids is the interior design. The king's chamber, queen's chamber, and grand gallery are not random. They reflect a precise understanding of angles, light, and celestial alignment. Some shafts allow sunlight or starlight to penetrate specific chambers during solstices or equinoxes, creating a dramatic interplay of illumination that may have its spiritual or ritual significance. The architecture itself becomes a living demonstration of celestial phenomena, encoding the movements of the stars into the structure of the building. Even more enigmatic is the idea that the pyramids encode knowledge of cosmic cycles beyond simple solar and stellar observation. The alignments may correspond to long-term cycles of the planets, precession of the equinoxes, or other astronomical phenomena. Some researchers propose that the pyramids served as a repository of cosmic knowledge, preserving the Egyptians' understanding of the universe for future generations. In this sense, the pyramids are both monuments to the dead and archives of the living cosmos. Emotionally, the pyramids evoke awe not only because of their scale, but also because of their intent. Standing at the base, one can sense the ambition, patience, and devotion required to construct these colossal structures. Every block moved, every angle calculated, reflects a civilization's desire to bridge human life with eternal cosmic rhythms. The builders were participants in a cosmic dialogue, translating observation into stone, ensuring that their knowledge would endure millennia. The twist deepens when we consider hidden chambers and unexplored shafts. In recent decades, technologies like muon imaging have revealed voids within the Great Pyramid, suggesting the existence of undiscovered spaces. Could these contain additional astronomical markers, ritual chambers, or repositories of knowledge? Each discovery fuels speculation about the depth of the Egyptians' understanding and the secrets that remain hidden within the monumental stones. The pyramids' role in Egyptian society was not purely spiritual. It was practical, political, and social. The timing of construction, labor organization, and ceremonial events were all coordinated with celestial cycles. Alignments dictated festivals, agricultural planning, and religious rituals, reinforcing the pharaoh's authority as both ruler and intermediary between the people and the cosmos. The pyramids were instruments of governance as much as instruments of the heavens. Across time, the pyramids have inspired wonder, study, and speculation. Their design principles echo in distant civilizations, from Mesoamerican pyramids to European megaliths, suggesting a shared human fascination with aligning human structures with the cosmos. Yet the Egyptians' achievement remains unparalleled in precision, scale, and symbolic depth. They created more than tombs. They created a bridge between earth and sky, mortality and eternity, human ingenuity and cosmic order. The emotional resonance of the pyramids is heightened by their endurance. They have survived millennia, wars, and the erosion of time, continuing to speak across centuries. They remind us of the ambition and intelligence of a civilization that sought to understand its place in the universe and to communicate that understanding through enduring, monumental art. The stones themselves become storytellers, encoding astronomical cycles, spiritual beliefs, and human ambition for all who can read them. And yet, for all we know, much remains hidden. The pyramids challenge modern assumptions about prehistoric knowledge and continue to provoke questions. How did the Egyptians achieve such precision? What knowledge of the cosmos is encoded in these structures that we have yet to uncover? How much of the original intent remains invisible to us today? Each question deepens the mystery, compelling us to continue exploring, observing, and decoding the legacy of the stars. Ultimately, the secrets of the pyramids are a testament to humanity's enduring fascination with the heavens. They remind us that our ancestors were not passive observers of the sky. They were active interpreters, engineers, and visionaries who sought to embed cosmic knowledge into the very fabric of their world. The pyramids stand as a bridge between human aspiration and the eternal rhythms of the universe, inviting us to look upward, think deeply, and wonder at the ambition, skill, and vision of those who came before. The pyramids are more than monuments. They are messages from the past, encoded in stone, shadow, and celestial alignment. They connect us to a time when humanity sought to understand the universe, to predict its cycles, and to embed that understanding into enduring form. And as we gaze upon them today, we are reminded that the stars, the stones, and the minds that built them remain intimately linked across millennia, inviting us to continue the dialogue they began so long ago. Long before telescopes or scientific instruments, humans looked to the night sky and wove its mysteries into stories. Across cultures, stars, planets, and constellations became characters in epic tales, heroes, gods, and cosmic forces. These stellar legends were not mere entertainment. They encoded knowledge, morals, and celestial cycles, ensuring that vital astronomical information was passed through generations. Myths became the first textbooks of the heavens, blending imagination, observation, and cultural wisdom into narratives that guided life on Earth. In Egypt, the stars were intimately tied to mythology and the afterlife. Orion represented Osiris, the god of rebirth, while Sirius symbolized Isis, his consort. The heliacal rising of Sirius signaled the annual flooding of the Nile, vital for agriculture and survival. By embedding cosmic events into myth, Egyptians ensured that essential seasonal knowledge was preserved in a form that everyone could understand and remember. The stars became storytellers, teaching both practical survival and spiritual truths. Similarly, in Mesopotamia, the movements of planets and constellations were woven into the tales of gods and demigods. Venus was associated with Inanna, the goddess of love and war, whose cycles influence calendars, festivals, and even political decisions. Lunar eclipses and solar phenomena were interpreted as omens, recorded in myths that served both as warning and guidance. These narratives encoded astronomical knowledge in a human form, making the cosmos comprehensible through story. The Maya and Aztecs elevated myth to a precise science of timekeeping. Celestial events were personified, with Venus, the sun, and the moon playing active roles in myths of creation, war, and renewal. Stories were intricately tied to calendars, ceremonies, and agriculture, ensuring that celestial literacy was deeply integrated into society. Every myth carried layers of meaning, cultural, spiritual, and astronomical, guiding both the daily and cosmic order. Across the Pacific, Polynesian navigators used myths to encode star paths, wind patterns, and ocean currents. Legends of star warriors, celestial fish, and guiding spirits were mnemonic devices, teaching navigation over thousands of miles of open ocean. These myths combined practical knowledge with spiritual reverence, creating a system where storytelling and survival were inseparable. Stars became teachers, and myths were their lessons. Europe, too, is rich with stellar legends. The Greeks named constellations after heroes, monsters, and gods: Perseus, Andromeda, Orion, creating narratives that encoded the positions and movements of stars. These stories were not arbitrary. They reflected the patterns of the sky, making complex astronomical knowledge memorable and accessible. The legends served as cultural guides, teaching generations about celestial order while inspiring awe and wonder. The twist emerges when we examine the consistency of certain motifs across cultures. Many societies, separated by vast oceans and centuries, associated Orion and the Pleiades with creation, hunting, or celestial authority. Could these similarities be coincidence, or do they hint at a shared human perception of the cosmos, an instinctive recognition of certain stellar patterns as meaningful? The recurrence of themes suggests that the stars speak a universal language, interpreted in stories that shaped civilizations worldwide. Emotionally, stellar legends connect us to the human experience. Imagine ancient storytellers around a fire, tracing constellations in the sky, weaving tales of gods, heroes, and cosmic events. These stories conveyed wonder, fear, hope, and morality, allowing communities to feel both small in the vast universe and intimately connected to its rhythms. The stars became a mirror for human emotion, a canvas for imagination, and a guide for understanding the cycles of life and death. Moreover, myths often concealed hidden knowledge. Celestial cycles, eclipses, and seasonal changes were encoded in narrative form, ensuring accuracy and secrecy. Only those trained in observation or ritual could fully decode the astronomical information embedded in these legends. This dual purpose, teaching the public while safeguarding advanced knowledge, reflects a sophisticated understanding of pedagogy and power. Myths were simultaneously cultural, spiritual, and scientific. Some legends even hint at cosmic catastrophes. Stories of floods, falling stars, or shifting heavens may encode memories of ancient astronomical events, supernovae, or meteor impacts. Across continents, oral traditions describe phenomena that align with rare celestial occurrences, suggesting that humans preserved observational history through narrative. The stars were not only guides but chroniclers of extraordinary events, and myths became the medium through which these stories survived. The universality of stellar legends also underscores humanity's innate curiosity. Across time and space, people ask the same questions. Why do the stars move? What governs their patterns? How do they affect our lives? In seeking answers, they created narratives that blended observation, imagination, and ritual. These stories reflect both our desire to understand the cosmos and our need to connect emotionally with the vast unknown. The emotional resonance deepens when considering the endurance of these myths. Thousands of years later, we still tell the stories of Orion, the Pleiades, or Venus. We continue to marvel at the cosmos in the same way our ancestors did, guided by the narratives they left behind. In this sense, myths serve as bridges, connecting modern humans to ancient observers, linking our understanding of the sky with cultural memory and human imagination. There is also a practical dimension. Myths ensured survival. By encoding agricultural cycles, seasonal changes, and celestial events into stories, societies could pass vital knowledge to those unable to read the sky themselves. The stars were teachers, myths were textbooks, and the continuity of civilization depended on this symbiosis. The narrative preserved knowledge across generations, reinforcing the social, spiritual, and practical order of life. Yet, for all we understand, much remains enigmatic. Symbols, metaphors, and motifs in myths may contain layers of meaning that modern interpretation only partially deciphers. Some legends may refer to advanced astronomical knowledge, lost observatories, or Starlink connections we have yet to fully comprehend. The stories, while accessible as narratives, hide the sophistication of the celestial literacy they encode. Ultimately, stellar legends reveal a profound truth. Humans have always sought to connect with the cosmos through both observation and imagination. Myths encode knowledge, morality, and cultural identity, ensuring that the stars are not only seen but understood, revered, and remembered. They are evidence of humanity's intelligence, creativity, and emotional depth, a testament to the desire to find meaning in the vastness of the universe. The night sky continues to speak through these legends. By tracing constellations, decoding myths, and understanding the cycles of celestial events, we participate in an ancient conversation. The stories remind us that observation and imagination are intertwined, that science and spirituality can coexist, and that the stars have always been our guides, teachers, and companions. Humanity's earliest attempts to understand the cosmos were not in laboratories. They were in stories told under the flickering light of the night sky, connecting generations across time and space. From the deserts of Egypt to the jungles of Mesoamerica, ancient civilizations designed their sacred spaces not merely to inspire but to align perfectly with the cosmos. Celestial alignments were not decorative. They were functional, spiritual, and deeply symbolic. Temples, pyramids, stone circles, and ceremonial plazas were oriented to capture the movements of the sun, moon, planets, and stars. Through these alignments, the heavens dictated the rhythm of life, influencing rituals, agriculture, governance, and social cohesion. In Egypt, temples were meticulously aligned to solstices and stellar risings. The Temple of Karnak, for example, is oriented so that sunlight penetrates its inner sanctum at precise moments during the winter solstice, illuminating sacred statues and altars. This alignment transformed architecture into a temporal instrument, synchronizing the earthly with the celestial. Priests and initiates would witness these events as living proof of divine order, reinforcing the connection between human rulers and cosmic forces. Mesoamerican civilizations took celestial alignment to astonishing levels of sophistication. The Mayan city of Uxmal and the Pyramid of the Magician are oriented to track the sun's path, solstices, and the planet Venus. During ceremonial events, sunlight would strike specific carvings or steps, symbolically activating the structure and connecting participants with the cosmos. These alignments were both practical, marking agricultural cycles, and sacred, ensuring that rituals resonated with cosmic rhythms. The architecture itself became an instrument of communication between humanity and the stars. Stone circles and passage tombs in Europe, such as Stonehenge and Newgrange, demonstrate the integration of celestial knowledge into ritual practice. At Newgrange, the winter solstice sunrise illuminates the inner chamber for only a few minutes each year. This fleeting moment of light would have had profound emotional and spiritual impact on those witnessing it, reinforcing ideas of rebirth, renewal, and human participation in cosmic cycles. Stonehenge, with its alignments to solstices and lunar events, served as both calendar and sacred stage, guiding ritual actions in harmony with the sky. The twist lies in the precision and intentionality of these alignments. Many sites incorporate multiple celestial cycles, solar, lunar, stellar, and planetary, requiring sophisticated observation and planning. In some cases, slight adjustments over generations accounted for the precession of the equinoxes, demonstrating an understanding of long-term cosmic changes. These were not simple observations. They were dynamic, ongoing projects connecting generations through ritual, mathematics, and astronomy. In Polynesia, celestial alignments dictated oceanic navigation as well as sacred practices. Temples, stone markers, and ceremonial grounds were oriented to key stars that guided long-distance voyages. Navigators memorized these alignments as part of oral traditions, allowing them to traverse vast stretches of open ocean. Here, ritual and survival were intertwined. Understanding the stars ensured both spiritual alignment and physical safety. The sky itself became a guide, a calendar, and a sacred map. Alignments often had direct social and political significance. By controlling access to knowledge of the stars and orchestrating rituals at precise celestial moments, elites reinforced their authority. Kings, priests, and shamans became intermediaries between the people and the cosmos, their legitimacy validated by celestial phenomena. Rituals synchronized with astronomical events were awe-inspiring, creating a sense of unity, purpose, and divine order within the community. The heavens were a theater, and alignments were the script. Emotionally, witnessing a perfectly timed celestial ritual would have been transformative. Imagine standing in a stone chamber or atop a pyramid as sunlight or starlight strikes an altar, statue, or carving for a fleeting moment. The event would have conveyed cosmic order, divine favor, and human participation in the universe. These alignments created shared experiences, binding communities to the sky and reinforcing the sacred connection between human life and celestial patterns. The intricacy of celestial alignments suggests a combination of observation, mathematics, and artistry. Ancient builders accounted for latitude, horizon topography, seasonal shifts, and planetary motion. They encoded their observations in stone, ensuring accuracy across generations. These alignments were not static. They were living systems that required continual attention, recalibration, and ritual enactment. The celestial knowledge embedded in these structures demonstrates a level of sophistication that challenges modern assumptions about prehistoric capabilities. Some alignments hint at deeper mysteries. Certain temples and pyramids appear oriented towards star positions that would have occurred thousands of years before their construction. Could these alignments reference lost knowledge, ancestral memory, or predictions of cosmic cycles? Sites such as Göbekli Tepe suggest that ancient architects encoded astronomical information that predates recorded history, indicating an understanding of the cosmos that may be far older than previously imagined. Across continents, a universal principle emerges. Humans have consistently sought to align sacred spaces with the cosmos. Whether through stone, earth, or architecture, civilizations encoded celestial knowledge into rituals, festivals, and monuments. These alignments were both practical and symbolic, guiding survival, spiritual practice, and social order. They demonstrate a profound human desire to harmonize life with the rhythms of the universe, creating a dialogue between humanity and the stars. The emotional resonance of celestial alignments endures today. Modern observers, scholars, and travelers who stand in these sacred spaces during solstices, equinoxes, or star risings experience awe, wonder, and connection. They follow in the footsteps of ancient civilizations, witnessing the same patterns and events that inspired rituals millennia ago. The sky, once a canvas of guidance and ritual, continues to captivate and teach, reminding us of humanity's enduring fascination with the cosmos. Celestial alignments and rituals also emphasize the universality of human curiosity and ingenuity. Across deserts, oceans, and forests, ancient people independently discovered the patterns of the sky, encoded them into structures, and synchronized human life with cosmic events. Despite cultural and geographic differences, the impulse to connect earthly and celestial cycles is a shared thread throughout human history. It is a testament to the intelligence, creativity, and devotion of civilizations across the world. Finally, celestial alignments compel us to consider our own relationship with the cosmos. The rituals, monuments, and observatories of the past invite reflection. What patterns do we observe today? How do we align our lives with larger cycles, both earthly and celestial? By studying these ancient practices, we gain not only historical insight but also a deeper emotional connection to the universe, a reminder that the sky has always guided, inspired, and challenged humanity. The heavens, once read through stone and ritual, continue to speak. And as we trace the alignments, witness the festivals, and decode the precision of ancient structures, we participate in a timeless dialogue. Celestial alignments and rituals are a bridge between human curiosity, spiritual aspiration, and cosmic order, a connection that remains as powerful and compelling today as it was thousands of years ago. Throughout history, civilizations have left behind hidden maps of the stars, intricate, encoded guides embedded in art, architecture, and artifacts. Unlike modern charts, these star maps were not always obvious. They were concealed in plain sight, led within carvings, symbols, and alignments, intended to preserve knowledge, guide rituals, or assert authority. To the uninitiated, they were decorative or mystical. To the initiated, they were precise cosmic guides, connecting Earth with the heavens. In Egypt, hidden star maps are found throughout temples and tombs. Constellations and celestial events are encoded in wall carvings, floor plans, and chamber orientations. The Dendra zodiac, for example, is not merely artistic. It is a map of the sky, depicting stars, planets, and constellations with astonishing accuracy. Priests use these hidden guides to track time, forecast agricultural cycles, and perform rituals in harmony with celestial rhythms. Knowledge of these maps was a closely guarded secret, restricted to the educated and initiated elite. Mesoamerican civilizations also concealed star maps in their monuments and codices. Mayan temples, pyramids, and stelae often encode positions of Venus, the Sun, and the Moon. Some carvings show patterns that mirror star clusters, eclipses, or solstice alignments. These maps were not obvious to casual observers. Understanding them required knowledge of celestial cycles and rituals. Hidden star maps served both practical and spiritual purposes, ensuring that knowledge of the cosmos endured through generations while remaining accessible only to those trained to read it. Europe's megalithic sites contained similarly subtle astronomical guides. Stone circles, passage tombs, and alignments encode lunar and solar cycles, as well as stellar positions. At sites like Callanish in Scotland, standing stones create shadows, reflections, and sightlines that reveal hidden patterns of the night sky. The stones themselves act as mnemonic devices, guiding ritual and observation, transforming the landscape into a living star map. These hidden guides were both educational and sacred, teaching astronomy while reinforcing spiritual and social hierarchies. In Asia, ancient Chinese and Japanese sites incorporated star maps into temple layouts, carvings, and ceremonial grounds. The orientation of structures often mirrored specific constellations or solar-lunar cycles. Astronomical diagrams were sometimes etched into stone or inscribed on bronze artifacts, creating durable guides for both practical and spiritual purposes. These maps were subtle, layered, and often symbolic, requiring knowledge and interpretation to fully understand. The twist emerges when we consider that some hidden star maps may predate written history. Sites such as Göbekli Tepe and Nabta Playa suggest knowledge of constellations, solstices, and cosmic cycles tens of thousands of years before they were officially recorded. The maps were encoded in geometry, stone placement, and carvings, suggesting that prehistoric humans possessed a sophisticated understanding of the heavens long before the rise of advanced civilizations. These hidden star maps hint at knowledge passed orally and visually across generations, challenging assumptions about the origins of astronomy. Emotionally, hidden star maps create a sense of awe and mystery. Imagine discovering a carving or alignment that perfectly mirrors a constellation, knowing that someone thousands of years ago intended it as a message to the future. There is a human thrill in recognizing the intelligence, foresight, and devotion required to encode cosmic knowledge with such precision. Each hidden map is a bridge across time, connecting modern observers to the minds of ancient astronomers, architects, and mystics. Hidden star maps often served dual purposes, practical and symbolic. They guided agricultural cycles, navigation, and ritual, while simultaneously encoding spiritual or religious meaning. The alignment of a pyramid with Orion, a temple doorway with Venus, or a passage tomb with the rising sun could simultaneously instruct and inspire, reminding humans of their place within a larger cosmic order. These maps were both tools and teachers, practical guides, and sacred texts etched into stone, earth, and memory. Some hidden star maps are even intercontinental in theme. Constellations like Orion, the Pleiades, and Sirius appear across civilizations from Egypt to Mesoamerica to Europe, often with strikingly similar symbolic associations. Could these similarities indicate a shared cosmic literacy, independent invention, or even cross-cultural exchange? Regardless of origin, the recurrence of motifs underscores humanity's universal fascination with the heavens and the desire to preserve that knowledge across space and time. The emotional resonance deepens when considering secrecy. These maps were intentionally hidden, often decipherable only by those trained in astronomy, ritual, or symbolism. This secrecy protected knowledge, reinforced social hierarchies, and preserved the integrity of observation. The hidden star maps remind us that knowledge was power, and that cosmic literacy was a skill worth guarding, a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring significance of the stars. Furthermore, hidden star maps sometimes encode catastrophic events, solar phenomena, or rare celestial occurrences. Ancient carvings, spiral motifs, and geometric patterns may document eclipses, supernovae, or unusual planetary alignments. In this sense, hidden star maps are not only guides, they are historical records, chronicling the sky across generations. These encoded messages allow modern scholars to trace cosmic events, bridging observation with myth and archaeology. Across the globe, these hidden maps share a common thread: the desire to encode and preserve knowledge for the future. They transform human structures, artifacts, and landscapes into cosmic records, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and symbolism. The maps reveal intelligence, creativity, and spiritual insight, emphasizing that prehistoric and ancient humans were deeply connected to the cosmos. The thrill of hidden star maps lies not just in their discovery, but in their interpretation. Each map is a puzzle, a challenge to decode the intentions of those who observed the sky millennia ago. Modern technology, astronomical software, 3D scanning, and satellite imagery helps us uncover patterns, yet the emotional impact remains. We are reading messages from ancestors who lived, observed, and encoded with extraordinary foresight. Ultimately, hidden star maps are a testament to humanity's enduring fascination with the heavens. They demonstrate an unbroken lineage of observation, recording, and reverence, connecting us to civilizations long past. They invite reflection: how much knowledge was lost? How much remains to be uncovered? And perhaps most profoundly, what can these ancient guides teach us about our own place in the cosmos? The stars, encoded in stone, earth, and memory, continue to speak. Hidden star maps challenge us to look deeper, think critically, and wonder at the ingenuity of those who came before. They remind us that the cosmos has always been a source of guidance, inspiration, and mystery, and that across millennia, humanity has sought to map, understand, and honor its eternal rhythms. Long before the invention of telescopes or modern instruments, ancient civilizations built observatories to study the heavens with remarkable precision. These structures were not mere platforms for gazing at the sky. They were carefully designed instruments, combining architecture, mathematics, and ritual to decode the cosmos. From the deserts of Egypt to the highlands of Peru, ancient observatories transformed landscapes into tools of observation, allowing civilizations to track the movements of stars, planets, and the sun with extraordinary accuracy. In Egypt, observatories were often integrated into temples and pyramids. The alignment of shafts, chambers, and courtyards facilitated precise tracking of celestial bodies. Priests could predict solstices, equinoxes, and the heliacal rising of stars, such as Sirius, which heralded the Nile's annual flood. These observations were essential for agriculture, religious ceremonies, and governance. Ancient Egyptian observatories thus bridged science, ritual, and politics, allowing a civilization to thrive in harmony with cosmic cycles. Mesoamerican civilizations elevated observatories to an art form. Mayan and Aztec observatories, like the caracol at Chichen Itza, featured circular towers, windows, and sightlines precisely aligned with planetary and stellar events. The caracol was used to track Venus cycles, lunar phases, and eclipses, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics. Observatories were not just functional. They were spiritual and symbolic, connecting rulers, priests, and the public to the movements of the heavens. Through these structures, the cosmos became a tangible part of daily life, guiding ritual, agriculture, and decision-making. The European megalithic tradition also reflects observatory-like functions. Stone circles, standing stones, and passage tombs were aligned to track solstices, equinoxes, and stellar events. Sites like Stonehenge and Callanish functioned as calendars and ritual observatories, allowing ancient societies to mark time and coordinate ceremonies with precision. The movement of sunlight and shadows through these structures became a living clock, demonstrating the interplay of architecture and astronomy. Asia offers additional evidence of early observatories. In ancient China, astronomers built platforms and towers to monitor solar, lunar, and planetary cycles. Observations were meticulously recorded, forming the basis of calendars and agricultural planning. Similarly, in Japan, Shinto shrines often incorporated orientation toward the rising sun, connecting human activity with celestial patterns. Across cultures, observatories were both scientific instruments and sacred spaces, demonstrating a deep intertwining of observation, ritual, and authority. The twist emerges when we consider the global sophistication of these observatories. Despite differences in culture, geography, and technology, civilizations independently developed precise astronomical tools. Many accounted for complex cycles such as the precession of the equinoxes, lunar standstills, and planetary retrogrades. This indicates not only careful observation but also advanced mathematical understanding, often predating what modern scholars assumed was possible. Ancient observatories were laboratories of the cosmos, blending art, science, and spirituality into enduring forms. Emotionally, these observatories reflect humanity's desire to connect with something greater. Imagine a priest in the Caracol Tower, tracking Venus across the sky, knowing that the movements of this distant world influence war, agriculture, and ritual. Imagine Egyptian priests timing temple ceremonies with the rising of Sirius, marking life and death across the Nile. Observatories were places of awe and reverence, where humans stood in dialogue with the eternal rhythms of the universe. Observatories also served political and social purposes. Knowledge of celestial events allowed rulers and priests to assert authority, predict agricultural cycles, and coordinate large-scale societal activities. The ability to interpret the sky was a form of power, blending science with governance. Access to observatories was often restricted to trained elites, reinforcing hierarchies and preserving the integrity of knowledge. The cosmos itself became both a teacher and a tool of social order. In many cases, observatories encoded knowledge for future generations. Alignments, measurements, and records ensured that celestial wisdom could be preserved and passed down. At sites like Nabta Playa, structures appear to encode solstice and stellar positions over centuries. These observatories were not ephemeral. They were long-term investments in cosmic literacy, demonstrating foresight and a commitment to continuity. Human ingenuity was expressed not only in immediate utility, but in enduring legacy. The connection between observatories and myth further deepens their significance. Observations of the stars and planets were often woven into religious narratives, legends, and rituals. The movements of celestial bodies were personified, and observatories became sacred theaters where myths were enacted and reinforced. Through this blending of observation and imagination, civilizations created holistic systems where science, spirituality, and cultural identity were inseparable. Some ancient observatories challenge our understanding of technology and knowledge. Göbekli Tepe, dating back more than 11,000 years, contains structures and carvings that align with stars and constellations. This suggests that sophisticated astronomical observation predates not only writing but agriculture in some regions. The very concept of organized observation and record-keeping may have deep prehistoric roots, hidden beneath layers of myth, ritual, and stone. The emotional impact of these discoveries is profound. Standing in the Caracol, at Stonehenge, or at Nabta Playa, one feels the weight of centuries of observation, the dedication of ancient minds, and the human longing to comprehend the cosmos. These observatories are monuments not just of stone but of curiosity, patience, and reverence. They remind us that humans have always sought to measure, interpret, and harmonize with the universe, driven by or as much as by necessity. Observatories were also instruments of prediction. By tracking cycles, ancient astronomers could forecast eclipses, solstices, and planetary positions with remarkable accuracy. These predictions shaped festivals, warfare, agriculture, and spiritual life. In essence, observatories allowed humans to align their lives with the predictable rhythms of the cosmos, transforming uncertainty into knowledge, fear into reverence, and observation into power. Finally, ancient observatories are a testament to the universality of human curiosity. Across deserts, jungles, oceans, and mountains, societies independently developed methods to observe the sky, record patterns, and encode knowledge. They reveal intelligence, creativity, and a profound sense of connection between earth and sky. Observatories were laboratories, classrooms, temples, and monuments, serving multiple purposes while inspiring generations to look upward and seek understanding. The legacy of ancient observatories endures today. They continue to inspire scholars, architects, and astronomers, connecting us with civilizations that understood the cosmos deeply and intuitively. By studying these sites, we participate in a dialogue that spans millennia, recognizing that humanity's quest to read the stars is as ancient as civilization itself. Observatories were more than tools. They were expressions of wonder, devotion, and the timeless human desire to comprehend the universe. The stars continue to guide us, just as they guided the builders of observatories thousands of years ago. By decoding alignments, tracing cycles, and exploring ancient towers, we join a conversation that has endured across time. Ancient observatories are enduring proof that humans have always looked to the sky for answers, inspiration, and connection, reminding us that the cosmos is both our teacher and our companion. Across millennia, civilizations have gazed at the heavens, charted stars, and built monuments aligned with cosmic rhythms. Yet much of this knowledge has been lost, erased by time, conquest, or cultural upheaval. Libraries burned, sacred texts decayed, and observatories fell into ruin. The secrets once encoded in stone, clay, and memory now lie hidden or forgotten, leaving only tantalizing fragments for modern scholars to interpret. The lost knowledge of the cosmos challenges us to imagine a world where humans understood the universe in ways that may still surpass our own. The Library of Alexandria stands as the most famous symbol of lost cosmic wisdom. Scholars there recorded the motions of planets, the cycles of stars, and mathematical principles connecting Earth to the heavens. When it was destroyed, centuries of astronomical observation vanished, along with theories and insights that might have accelerated human understanding by generations. This loss reminds us of the fragility of human knowledge and the delicate chain linking observation, record, and preservation. In Mesoamerica, Spanish conquest resulted in the destruction of countless codices detailing astronomical cycles, Venus observations, and ritual calendars. Entire systems of cosmic literacy were systematically erased. Yet traces remain in architecture, monuments, and oral traditions, hinting at the depth and precision of the knowledge that once existed. The loss is not merely historical. It represents a profound interruption in humanity's understanding of the cosmos, a silence echoing across centuries. Europe's Dark Ages contributed to gaps in cosmic knowledge as well. While some observational skills persisted in monasteries and among navigators, much of the intricate astronomical understanding of the ancient world was obscured. Tools, instruments, and texts were lost or misunderstood. Only fragments of Greek, Roman, and earlier civilizations' astronomical insight survived, forcing later scholars to reconstruct knowledge from incomplete evidence. The past whispers through these fragments, tantalizing us with glimpses of understanding now obscured. The twist deepens when considering prehistoric civilizations. Sites like Göbekli Tepe, Nabta Playa, and the megalithic observatories of Europe suggest sophisticated cosmic knowledge existed long before written records. This implies that entire chapters of human understanding of the cosmos were never recorded in traditional texts, relying instead on oral transmission, ritual, and monuments. Much of this knowledge may have been irretrievably lost as cultures changed, populations migrated, and landscapes were transformed. The cosmos, once meticulously observed, became a partially forgotten narrative. Emotionally, the idea of lost knowledge evokes both wonder and sorrow. Imagine generations of observers measuring stars, calculating cycles, and encoding insights into structures, only for those insights to vanish from memory. The loss is not merely intellectual, it is human. It represents the dreams, labor, and devotion of countless individuals, their work now silent, waiting to be rediscovered. Each fragment we uncover today reconnects us to these ancient minds, bridging millennia of observation and imagination. The surviving traces of lost knowledge are astonishing in their precision. The Great Pyramid, for example, encodes dimensions, alignments, and ratios suggesting an understanding of the Earth, the Sun, and the stars. Stone circles in Europe align with solstices and lunar standstills. Mesoamerican pyramids track Venus with uncanny accuracy. These remnants hint at an understanding far beyond what is usually attributed to ancient societies, suggesting that lost knowledge may have been far more sophisticated than we can fully grasp today. Lost knowledge often intertwines with mythology and ritual. Many stories, carvings, and sacred symbols encode astronomical observations that are only partially understood. Legends of floods, falling stars, or cosmic battles may reflect real celestial events interpreted through cultural lenses. By decoding these myths and symbols, modern researchers are gradually uncovering fragments of knowledge once thought lost, revealing a profound continuity between ancient observation and contemporary understanding. The emotional impact of rediscovering lost knowledge is profound. Every alignment measured, every carving interpreted, and every ancient calendar reconstructed is a triumph of curiosity, intelligence, and persistence. These discoveries remind us that knowledge is resilient, capable of surviving centuries of neglect if we know how to read the clues. The universe itself becomes a guide, whispering secrets to those patient enough to observe, calculate, and interpret. Consider the possibility that some lost knowledge was deliberately hidden. Temples, pyramids, and observatories often encoded celestial information accessible only to trained elites. Knowledge of the cosmos could empower priests, rulers, or navigators. By restricting access, societies preserved secrets that linked spiritual authority with astronomical mastery. This intentional concealment adds a layer of mystery, suggesting that some cosmic knowledge was always meant to be rediscovered, challenging us to decode the messages left behind. Across continents, lost knowledge reminds us of the universality of human curiosity. From Egypt to Mesoamerica, Europe to Asia, civilizations independently observed the heavens, encoded insights, and created structures and rituals that reflected cosmic understanding. The partial loss of this knowledge underscores how fragile human achievement can be, and how much remains to be reconstructed. Every discovery today is both a triumph and a reminder of the magnitude of what has been forgotten. Some lost knowledge may never be fully recovered. Submerged ruins, vanished libraries, and eroded monuments conceal secrets that are now beyond reach. Yet, even partial recovery is transformative. By studying surviving alignments, artifacts, and myths, we gain insights into the sophistication, creativity, and devotion of ancient astronomers and architects. These fragments allow us to glimpse not only their knowledge, but also their emotional and spiritual engagement with the cosmos. The human element of lost knowledge is deeply moving. Ancient observers did not merely calculate, They observed with awe, recorded with care, and encoded with intention. Each lost insight represents a dialogue between humans and the universe, a conversation interrupted but not entirely silenced. When we reconstruct these insights, we participate in a timeless exchange, connecting past and present, earth and sky. Ultimately, lost knowledge of the cosmos is a call to humility and wonder. It reminds us that humans have long sought to understand the universe, that ingenuity and observation are ancient, and that the stars have always inspired both awe and inquiry. While much has been lost, the fragments that remain encourage us to look upward, think deeply, and honor the intelligence, devotion, and imagination of those who came before. The mystery of lost knowledge challenges us to keep searching, measuring, and interpreting. Every monument, myth, and artifact is a potential key to understanding a civilization's grasp of the heavens. By piecing together these fragments, we reconnect with humanity's ancient fascination with the cosmos, revealing a continuum of observation, insight, and wonder that stretches back across millennia. The cosmos, once meticulously charted, partially forgotten, and now partially rediscovered, continues to guide, inspire, and challenge humanity. Lost knowledge reminds us that the universe has always been a teacher, that the stars whisper their secrets, and that by listening carefully, we may reclaim pieces of wisdom thought forever lost. The journey to rediscover this knowledge is not only intellectual, it is profoundly human, connecting us emotionally to the minds and hearts of our ancestors. From the arid deserts of Egypt to the dense jungles of Mesoamerica, from the windswept plains of Europe to the vast Pacific Ocean, humans have always looked to the sky with wonder and curiosity. Across time and geography, civilizations developed unique ways of observing, interpreting, and venerating the cosmos. Despite differences in culture, language, and environment, striking parallels emerge, suggesting a universal human fascination with the heavens. Celestial mysteries transcended borders, connecting humanity through the shared language of the stars. In Egypt, celestial patterns were intertwined with religion, governance, and architecture. Temples, pyramids, and tombs aligned with solstices, specific stars, and constellations. Orion, Sirius, and the circumpolar stars were more than navigational markers. They were divine symbols. The night sky guided agricultural cycles, spiritual rituals, and the pharaoh's journey into the afterlife. By encoding cosmic knowledge into architecture and ritual, Egyptians created a tangible connection between Earth and the heavens, revealing a sophisticated understanding of the universe. Across the Atlantic, Mesoamerican civilizations mirrored similar reverence for the stars. The Maya meticulously tracked Venus, eclipses, and lunar cycles. Pyramids and observatories like El Caracol functioned as astronomical instruments, synchronizing human activity with celestial events. Venus' appearance influenced agricultural planning, ritual ceremonies, and even warfare. The Aztecs and Maya embedded star knowledge in codices, calendars, and monuments, creating systems that combined spirituality, governance, and precise astronomical observation. The sky, in these cultures, was both sacred and practical, guiding daily life and societal order. Europe presents another fascinating perspective. Stonehenge, Newgrange, and Callanish are more than monuments. They are celestial tools. Their alignments capture solstices, lunar cycles, and stellar events with extraordinary precision. Neolithic builders transformed landscapes into observatories, encoding astronomical knowledge in stone. These structures reveal an ancient understanding of the sky's rhythms, connecting architecture, ritual, and social cohesion. European societies, though geographically distant from Egypt and Mesoamerica, independently cultivated a deep engagement with the cosmos, emphasizing humanity's shared curiosity. In Polynesia, the ocean became a vast canvas for celestial navigation. Islanders memoized star paths, ocean currents, and wind patterns, using the night sky to traverse thousands of miles of open sea. Legends and oral traditions encoded this knowledge, with stars personified as guides and teachers. Navigation was inseparable from myth, ritual, and social structure, demonstrating an intuitive yet precise understanding of the heavens. The sky was both compass and storytelling medium, showing that cosmic literacy need not rely on written records. Asia offers yet another dimension. Ancient Chinese astronomers meticulously tracked planetary motions, comets, and eclipses. Observatories, bronze instruments, and temple alignments preserved knowledge over centuries. Japanese and Indian cultures integrated celestial observation into rituals, festivals, and mythology, creating a seamless blend of science, spirituality, and society. Across Asia, cosmic observation was a disciplined practice, reflecting a commitment to understanding celestial patterns and harmonizing human life with universal cycles. The twist lies in the remarkable cross-cultural similarities. Despite separation by oceans and mountains, civilizations independently observed the same stars, noted similar celestial cycles, and often attributed comparable spiritual significance. Orion, the Pleiades, Sirius, and Venus appear repeatedly in myths, architecture, and calendars worldwide. Were these coincidences the result of convergent thinking, or hints at a shared ancestral memory of the heavens? The recurrence of motifs suggests a universal human instinct to find meaning in the night sky and to encode that understanding into culture. Emotionally, the universality of celestial mysteries evokes awe and connection. Imagine ancient Egyptians, Mayans, Polynesian navigators, and European megalithic builders gazing at the same stars, observing the same cycles, yet interpreting them through their unique lenses. Across continents and centuries, humans felt the same wonder, fear, and curiosity inspired by the cosmos. This shared emotional response bridges time and space, reminding us that despite cultural differences, we are united by our fascination with the heavens. Celestial mysteries also reveal the human drive to preserve knowledge. Codices, monuments, rituals, and oral traditions ensured that observations of the sky endured across generations. Even in the absence of written records, societies developed sophisticated methods to track stars and planets, embedding cosmic understanding into cultural memory. The ingenuity required to encode, transmit, and interpret this knowledge underscores a deep respect for the heavens and the cycles that govern life on Earth. Moreover, celestial mysteries often influenced human decision-making in profound ways. Agricultural planning, religious festivals, political ceremonies, and social hierarchies were all guided by cosmic observation. By aligning their lives with celestial rhythms, civilizations cultivated harmony with nature and the universe. The night sky was not merely a backdrop for human activity. It was an active participant, shaping culture, society, and belief systems. The emotional resonance deepens when considering the hidden or esoteric aspects of cosmic knowledge. Certain alignments, rituals, and carvings were accessible only to trained elites, priests, astronomers, or navigators. Knowledge of the heavens could empower, control, or inspire. These mysteries were carefully safeguarded, passed down selectively, and sometimes encoded in symbolic or architectural forms. The sky became a repository of both knowledge and authority, demonstrating the intertwined nature of observation, spirituality, and social order. Across cultures, celestial mysteries also recorded extraordinary events. Comets, eclipses, and supernovae were observed and interpreted, often becoming central to myths and rituals. Some traditions preserve memories of events that correspond to known astronomical phenomena, suggesting that humans have long chronicled rare cosmic occurrences. In this way, the night sky functioned as a historical archive, recording events far beyond the scope of ordinary life. Ultimately, celestial mysteries across cultures highlight humanity's enduring desire to understand the universe. Despite technological differences, geographic separation, and cultural diversity, humans consistently sought to observe, interpret, and harmonize with the cosmos. These mysteries demonstrate both our intellectual ingenuity and our emotional connection to the heavens, revealing a timeless pursuit of knowledge, meaning, and wonder. The universality of these mysteries also invites reflection. When we trace alignments, study myths, or reconstruct ancient observatories, we participate in a global dialogue with past civilizations. We see that curiosity, observation, and reverence for the cosmos are not bound by time or place. They are intrinsic to the human spirit. Celestial mysteries, preserved in stone, story, and ritual, continue to teach, inspire, and challenge us to look upward, think deeply, and seek connection with the universe. By studying these mysteries, we recognize that the sky is both a shared heritage and a source of personal insight. Across continents and millennia, humans have looked to the stars to understand themselves, their societies, and their place in the cosmos. Celestial mysteries are reminders that, despite differences in language, culture, or technology, we are united in wonder, curiosity, and the pursuit of understanding. The heavens continue to speak, and the echoes of celestial mysteries invite us to listen. They encourage us to explore, decode, and appreciate the intricate ways humans have interacted with the cosmos. In doing so, we honor not only the stars but the generations of observers who dedicated their lives to understanding, celebrating, and recording the patterns of the universe. Humanity has always sought a connection with the cosmos, a bridge between the earthly and the celestial. Across cultures, civilizations, and millennia, the night sky has been both a mirror and a guide, reflecting our fears, hopes, and aspirations while influencing our rituals, calendars, and understanding of the universe. This cosmic connection is not merely scientific. It is profoundly emotional, spiritual, and cultural, intertwining human experience with the movements of stars, planets, and constellations. In ancient Egypt, the cosmic connection was central to religion and governance. Pharaohs were considered divine intermediaries, their authority legitimized by alignment with celestial bodies. Temples and pyramids were oriented to the stars, with rituals timed to solstices, equinoxes, and stellar risings. The alignment of the Great Pyramid with Orion's belt symbolized the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife, connecting human destiny with the cosmos. Through these practices, Egyptians experienced themselves as participants in a universal order, bridging the gap between mortality and eternity. Mesoamerican civilizations deepened this connection through precise observation and integration into daily life. Mayans tracked Venus, the moon, and solar cycles, embedding this knowledge into ritual, agriculture, and governance. Temples, observatories, and pyramids served as instruments to synchronize human activity with celestial rhythms. The cosmic connection was practical, guiding sowing and harvesting, and spiritual, linking rulers and priests to the divine. Humans were not mere spectators. They were collaborators in a universe orchestrated by celestial cycles. European megalithic cultures also nurtured this bond. Structures like Stonehenge and Newgrange were aligned with solstices, lunar cycles, and stellar events. These observatories created sacred spaces where communities could witness cosmic patterns, fostering awe, unity, and reverence. By connecting human rituals to celestial phenomena, these societies cultivated a profound understanding of time, cycles, and the human role within the cosmos. The stones themselves became mediators, turning the landscape into a living bridge between earth and sky. Polynesian navigators embodied the cosmic connection in motion. By memorizing star paths, wind currents, and ocean swells, they traversed vast oceans guided entirely by the heavens. Stars were not just markers. They were companions, teachers, and guides. Navigation, myth, and ritual merged, creating a relationship with the cosmos that was intimate, practical, and deeply spiritual. Through their journeys, humans engaged directly with the rhythms of the universe, experiencing the stars as active participants in their survival and destiny. Asia offers another dimension of this connection. In China, astronomers recorded eclipses, comets, and planetary movements, linking celestial observation to governance and ritual. Temples and ceremonial grounds aligned with stars, and myths encoded observations into narrative form. In India, Vedic texts describe cosmic cycles with remarkable mathematical precision, illustrating an intellectual and spiritual engagement with the universe. Across Asia, the cosmos was a teacher, guiding both understanding and reverence. The twist emerges when considering the emotional depth of this cosmic connection. Observation was not merely practical. It inspired awe, wonder, and contemplation. Ancient people stood under the same stars we see today, experiencing faith, hope, and curiosity. The same constellations that guided priests, navigators, and rulers also stirred imagination, storytelling, and spiritual reflection. The cosmos became a canvas for human emotion, a mirror of collective aspiration, and a stage for sacred enactment. Hidden in rituals, myths, and alignments is a psychological truth. Humans have always sought to feel part of something larger than themselves. The cosmic connection fulfills a deep need to understand our place in the universe, to find order amidst chaos, and to link life on Earth with the rhythms of the heavens. Observing the stars was an act of participation, an acknowledgement that humanity is bound to cycles, patterns, and forces far greater than ourselves. Moreover, the cosmic connection often served as a form of social cohesion. Shared observation, synchronized rituals, and communal or fostered unity, trust, and cultural continuity. Festivals timed to solstices, equinoxes, or celestial events brought communities together, linking individuals to each other and to the larger cosmos. In this way, the stars were both teachers and unifiers, reinforcing the interconnectedness of society and the universe. The lost and hidden knowledge of celestial movements further emphasizes the depth of this connection. Ancient observatories, encoded myths, and star maps reveal a level of sophistication that modern science often underestimates. From tracking precessions to predicting eclipses, civilizations understood the heavens with remarkable accuracy. Their connection to the cosmos was intellectual, spiritual, and practical, a holistic engagement that integrated observation, ritual, and interpretation. Emotionally, recognizing this connection today evokes a profound sense of continuity. Standing in a megalithic circle, atop a pyramid, or under a Polynesian sky, one feels the presence of countless generations who observed the same stars. The cosmic connection transcends time, reminding us that curiosity, wonder, and reverence are intrinsic to the human experience. We are linked to our ancestors not only biologically, but through shared engagement with the universe. The cosmic connection also hints at mysteries still unexplained. Certain alignments, carvings, and architectural features suggest knowledge of celestial events far in advance. Were these observations purely empirical, or did they encode insights from lost traditions or prehistoric civilizations? The answers remain elusive, but the evidence points to an enduring desire to align human life with the cosmos, a desire that continues to resonate today. Across continents, the cosmic connection underscores universality. Despite geographic, cultural, or technological differences, humans independently cultivated an awareness of celestial patterns, encoded in myth, ritual, and architecture. This universality reveals a shared cognitive and emotional impulse to observe, interpret, and harmonize with the cosmos. It is a testament to human intelligence, creativity, and the timeless pursuit of understanding. Finally, the cosmic connection reminds us of our responsibility to continue observing, learning, and reflecting. The stars have guided humanity for millennia, offering knowledge, inspiration, and a sense of place within the universe. By honoring this legacy, decoding ancient observatories, and studying the rhythms of the heavens, we not only preserve past wisdom, but cultivate a deeper emotional and intellectual engagement with the cosmos. The cosmic connection is more than observation. It is participation, reverence, and continuity. It bridges past and present, earth and sky, imagination and reality. By following the paths of ancient astronomers, priests, and navigators, we engage in a timeless dialogue with the universe, one that is both scientific and profoundly human, revealing the depth, wonder, and interconnectedness of our existence. Through the cosmic connection, we learn that the universe is not distant or indifferent. It is a partner in human experience, shaping life, thought, and culture. By observing, encoding, and reflecting on the stars, humanity has cultivated understanding, inspired creativity, and found meaning. This connection continues to guide us, challenging us to see beyond ourselves and recognize our place within the vast, unfolding cosmos. For centuries, scholars and enthusiasts have debated whether ancient civilizations could have had contact with advanced beings or otherworldly intelligences. Theories of prehistoric contact suggest that the precision, complexity, and universality of celestial knowledge might not have arisen entirely through independent human observation. Could the alignment of pyramids, the sophistication of star maps, and the consistency of astronomical motifs across continents point to guidance, influence, or inspiration from unknown sources? Ancient astronaut theorists point to striking similarities in structures and symbolism worldwide. The pyramids of Giza, the Mayan observatories, and the megalithic stone circles of Europe all demonstrate advanced understanding of celestial cycles. Some argue that these achievements exceed what was thought possible for prehistoric humans, hinting at external influence. Whether interpreted as extraterrestrial guidance, lost ancient wisdom, or an exceptional convergence of human ingenuity, these patterns provoke deep curiosity and challenge conventional assumptions. In Egypt, proponents of prehistoric contact highlight the Great Pyramid's precise alignment to the cardinal points and its relationship to Orion's belt. The architectural sophistication, including internal shafts angled to specific stars, seems almost impossibly precise for its era. Some suggest that knowledge of celestial mechanics may have been imparted by external sources, encoded in stone for generations to follow. While skeptics point to human ingenuity and observation, the debate continues to captivate researchers and the public alike. Mesoamerican civilizations provide further intrigue. The Mayan calendar's astonishing accuracy, tracking Venus cycles, solar years, and lunar months, has led some to speculate that the knowledge was influenced or inspired by entities with advanced astronomical understanding. Codices, monuments, and observatories reveal patterns that seem too complex to arise without deep, continuous observation and sophisticated mathematics. Whether this represents independent human genius or prehistoric contact remains an enduring mystery. European megalithic sites also fuel speculation. Stonehenge, Callanish, and Newgrange are aligned with solar, lunar, and stellar cycles, some of which were only understood millennia later. Certain carvings and structures appear to encode knowledge of precessional movements, eclipses, and planetary motion. Theories of prehistoric contact suggest that such knowledge may have been transmitted from advanced sources, leaving humans to interpret, record, and encode it in enduring monuments. The twist lies in cross-cultural patterns. Constellations like Orion, the Pleiades, and Sirius appear repeatedly, often with remarkably similar symbolism, despite vast geographic separation. Could these similarities be evidence of shared contact, a universal cosmic consciousness, or the result of convergent thinking across independent civilizations? While conventional archaeology attributes this to observation and human ingenuity, the patterns raise questions that remain unresolved, compelling researchers to consider possibilities beyond traditional explanations. Ancient myths and texts also hint at contact. Stories of beings descending from the sky, imparting knowledge of agriculture, astronomy, and civilization, recur worldwide, from Sumerian god to the Dogon in Africa to legends in the Americas and Asia. While interpretations vary, these narratives reinforce the idea that humanity has long sensed influences beyond the known, encoding such experiences in story, ritual, and monument. They suggest that prehistoric contact theories may be more than speculative. They resonate with the emotional and cultural memory of our ancestors. Emotionally, the idea of prehistoric contact is both thrilling and unsettling. It challenges our understanding of human history, intelligence, and achievement. Were humans always capable of extraordinary insight on their own, or did we receive guidance from unknown sources? These questions stir our curiosity and sometimes fear, reflecting our desire to comprehend not only the cosmos but our own origins and potential. Skeptics caution that prehistoric contact theories often underestimate the ingenuity, observation skills, and creativity of early humans. They argue that monumental architecture, star tracking, and myth-making can be explained through cumulative knowledge, oral tradition, and careful observation of the environment. Even without external influence, humans demonstrated astonishing capabilities, adapting to challenges and encoding complex understanding in stone, ritual, and memory. Yet the allure of these theories persists, in part because they address gaps, coincidences, and patterns that conventional explanations struggle to fully account for. Modern research continues to probe these mysteries. Archaeologists, astronomers, and historians use advanced tools, satellite imagery, 3D scanning, and astronomical simulation to study ancient alignments, star maps, and monuments. Each discovery adds depth, revealing both human brilliance and tantalizing anomalies that invite speculation about prehistoric contact. While definitive proof remains elusive, the ongoing investigation fuels imagination and connects us emotionally to the questions our ancestors may have asked themselves. Across cultures, prehistoric contact theories highlight a universal human impulse, the desire to understand the unknown. Whether through myths, monuments, or observation, ancient civilizations grappled with forces beyond their control. Theories of contact propose that some solutions to these mysteries may have originated from outside our conventional understanding. This speculation, grounded in observation and interpretation, inspires both intellectual inquiry and emotional engagement with the past. Ultimately, theories of prehistoric contact force reflection on the boundaries of human knowledge. They challenge us to reconsider what we know about intelligence, observation, and the capacity of ancient civilizations. They invite us to ponder whether the cosmos, once revered and encoded in stone, might have been more than a backdrop, perhaps an active participant in shaping human history. Emotionally, these theories resonate because they connect the human experience with the unknown. They evoke curiosity, wonder, and humility, reminding us that despite millennia of study, the universe remains mysterious. By considering the possibility of prehistoric contact, we participate in a dialogue with the past that is both scientific and deeply human, seeking to uncover the hidden truths that shaped our ancestors' understanding of the cosmos. The cosmic connections, hidden maps, and observatories discussed earlier all feed into this narrative. Each piece of evidence, alignments, carvings, myths, and monuments, serves as a clue in a larger puzzle. Whether interpreted as a result of human ingenuity or external influence, they demonstrate the extraordinary lengths to which civilizations went to connect with the cosmos, encode knowledge, and ensure that understanding endured. The allure of prehistoric contact theories lies not only in the possibility of extraterrestrial influence, but in the emotional and intellectual challenge they present. They compel us to think beyond conventional explanations, to question assumptions, and to appreciate the extraordinary achievements of ancient civilizations. They invite reflection on our own place in history, our relationship with knowledge, and the mysteries that still lie hidden among the stars. In the end, prehistoric contact theories do more than speculate. They inspire wonder, investigation, and imagination. They remind us that the cosmos has long been a source of mystery, guidance, and inspiration, and that humanity has always sought connection, understanding, and meaning in the heavens. By exploring these theories, we continue the journey of our ancestors, tracing the threads of cosmic knowledge, fascination, and curiosity that stretch back across time and space. After millennia of observation, calculation, and devotion, the journey through ancient star maps, observatories, and cosmic mysteries leads to a profound emotional climax. The evidence of human ingenuity, curiosity, and connection to the heavens culminates in a revelation. Our ancestors were not merely passive stargazers. They were active participants in a universe of patterns, cycles, and meaning. Every alignment, carving, and encoded myth reveals a civilization reaching across time, striving to understand the cosmos and their place within it. In standing beneath the shadow of the Great Pyramid or the Caracol Observatory, one feels the weight of history and intellect converging. The precision of alignments, the care of construction, and the meticulous encoding of celestial cycles evoke awe. It is not merely the science that impresses, but the emotional resonance, the knowledge that humans, thousands of years ago, devoted their lives to comprehending the heavens, anticipating events centuries or millennia into the future. The revelation is deeply human. Our ancestors were as curious, as ambitious, and as committed to understanding as we are today. The hidden star maps, carved into stone and encoded in rituals, serve as messages across time. They reveal a continuity of observation, insight, and reverence. From Göbekli Tepe to Stonehenge, from Egyptian temples to Polynesian navigation, humans have inscribed meaning into the cosmos, demonstrating that knowledge and wonder are inseparable. The emotional impact lies in the realization that every discovery, alignment, and decoded myth is a bridge connecting us to minds and hearts long past. These connections are more than intellectual. They are profoundly human, echoing our ancestors' awe, hope, and devotion. Theories of prehistoric contact deepen the sense of revelation. Whether or not external influence shaped these achievements, the consistent sophistication of celestial knowledge across continents forces reflection. It challenges assumptions about human capability, suggesting that either ancient humans were capable of astonishing feats of observation and mathematics, or that unknown forces guided or inspired them. Either way, the emotional resonance is inescapable. We are confronted with evidence of extraordinary intelligence, creativity, and cosmic awareness, stirring both humility and wonder. There is also a personal emotional dimension. Observing the patterns left by our ancestors instills a sense of continuity and belonging. Humanity's curiosity about the cosmos is not new. It is an inheritance. When modern eyes trace the alignments of the stars or decode an ancient star map, they participate in a timeless dialogue. The revelation is intimate. We are part of a lineage that has always sought to understand the universe, to find order in chaos, and to connect Earth with the heavens. This realization evokes awe, pride, and a deep emotional resonance. The climax of understanding also reveals the fragility of knowledge. So much has been lost, yet what remains is enough to inspire wonder and inquiry. Libraries burned, texts vanished, monuments eroded, but fragments survive, encoded in stone, story, and ritual. Each piece we recover is a triumph of human curiosity and resilience, a reminder that knowledge endures even when civilizations rise and fall. Emotionally, this interplay of loss and discovery underscores the preciousness of understanding and the responsibility to preserve it. The revelation extends to the universality of human experience. Despite vast distances and cultural differences, civilizations independently cultivated profound knowledge of the stars. Celestial patterns, star maps, observatories, and myths appear across continents, reflecting a shared drive to observe, interpret, and harmonize with the cosmos. This universality evokes wonder and empathy, connecting us to a global, historical human experience that transcends borders and time. At the heart of this climax is the realization that the cosmos has always been both teacher and companion. The night sky inspired ritual, guided agriculture, shaped governance, and sparked imagination. Ancient humans engaged deeply with patterns far beyond their immediate survival needs, demonstrating a longing for understanding and connection that mirrors our own. This revelation reinforces the emotional truth that curiosity, wonder, and reverence for the universe are intrinsic to humanity. Modern observers also experience a sense of responsibility and reflection. By decoding these ancient achievements, we continue the work of our ancestors, measuring, interpreting, and connecting with the cosmos. The revelation is that the pursuit of knowledge is both timeless and continuous. Our insights today are built on the foundation laid by those who meticulously observed, recorded, and encoded celestial phenomena millennia ago. Emotionally, this creates a profound sense of participation in a continuum of human inquiry and devotion. The emotional climax also highlights the human desire to seek meaning beyond survival. Ancient civilizations embedded their understanding of the cosmos into spiritual, social, and cultural frameworks. Knowledge of stars and planets was never purely technical. It was deeply intertwined with identity, morality, and destiny. The revelation is that the cosmos shaped human thought, belief, and culture, reflecting an inseparable bond between observation and emotion, intellect and imagination. Ultimately, the journey through hidden star maps, ancient observatories, and cosmic theories leads to a reflection on our own place in the universe. What if these revelations, encoded in stone, myth, and ritual, change the way we see history? What if the cosmos continues to guide us as it guided our ancestors? The emotional climax is a call to wonder, reflection, and connection. We are reminded that humanity's fascination with the stars is timeless, that knowledge endures, and that awe is a bridge across millennia. In this moment of revelation, one appreciates the full scope of human endeavor, the meticulous observation, the careful encoding, the dedication to preserving knowledge, and the emotional engagement with the cosmos. We see a continuum of human experience, stretching from prehistoric observers to modern scholars, all gazing at the same stars, asking the same questions, and marveling at the same universe. Emotionally, it is humbling, inspiring, and profoundly moving. The final revelation is both cosmic and personal. The stars, once meticulously charted, partially lost, and now partially rediscovered, continue to guide, inspire, and challenge humanity. They remind us that we are not isolated observers but participants in a grand, unfolding narrative. The emotional impact lies in this awareness. We are part of a continuum that spans millennia, a story of curiosity, ingenuity, and reverence written in stone, ritual, and the night sky itself. As the narrative concludes, viewers are left with a lingering sense of wonder and reflection. The journey through ancient star maps, hidden knowledge, observatories, and cosmic connections reveals that humanity has always sought to understand the heavens and, through them, ourselves. The stars remain a source of inspiration, a record of human endeavor, and a call to continue seeking, observing, and marveling. The emotional climax is therefore both an ending and a beginning, a resolution that honors the past, acknowledges the mysteries, and invites each of us to look upward, reflect, and consider our own connection to the cosmos. It is a testament to the enduring power of curiosity, the resilience of knowledge, and the profound human desire to seek understanding beyond ourselves.